Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hi. How's everybody? Happy Tuesday. Dude, we just had this wild, 5-minute deluge, and Brock and I we looked at each other, and he goes, "It wasn't supposed to rain." And I was like, "My sunroof." And he's like, "I really hope I close my sunroof." So I streaked down the hallway, and I tried to look out the window at a colleague's office, and there's a big tree in the way. I'm like, God bless America. So if it's ruined...
Does anyone live in the Shaler area? If you could let me know.
Brock is supposed to cut Grandma's grass today. Grandma does not like it when the grass is long. Grandma's going to be 100.
Yeah,
and so she really likes what she likes. God bless her.
In a month.
How are you guys? What's going on? I want to read this to you, Brock. You'll love this. This is from a woman named Cass. She's Mama Cass B on Rumble. She writes, love, love, love tulip blooms. I've been using the castor oil and also the velour for a month. These two products are so pampering to my 68-year-old skin. For a while now, I've been using Sniper products. They're awesome. Matter of fact, I was out this morning using the Weed Killer. The Knockout and Sniper were great, and with my dog and poop bag, I can truly appreciate the odor elimination. My son is on his second jar of Juvenon, and his blood pressure has improved, and so has his stamina. Oh, and we're proudly flying the 250th flag on the front porch and have received many compliments. Crescent Mountain coffee is great, and I enjoy it every morning. That, I don't know anybody who beats that. That was the... So I don't even know what to talk about. I don't even know what to do there. I'll do Sniper, disinfectwithsniper.com. One site, everything you could possibly need.
I have to put an order in.
Antibacterial, hospital grade disinfectant. You've got the deodorizer. You have a smelly environment. We had somebody reach out and they're like, somebody had a rental property and they had cats and the cats whizzed everywhere. And it reeked of cat urine and feces. And so they just actually sprayed it all over the place, left and came back and the odor was gone. Boom. They've got the flags, the 250 flags, everything you could possibly imagine. Plus, now they're doing this. Sniper is selling bundles, so you can get this Coast of Maine organic fertilizer. They've got it for rhododendron, for roses, for azaleas, flowering trees, fruit trees, all sorts of different things that you can get, that you can try, that our friend, he really researches these things before he puts his name on them. And when he puts it on the site, it's only for you. Nobody else gets that. You do. Disinfectwithsniper.com. That's you, your thing. Brock, how are you? What's going on?
I'm good.
I was grumpy this morning.
You were.
I've been tossing.
Thankfully, I'm the Wendy whisperer, though.
Yeah.
And
you've worked with me long enough to understand.
A lot of times, and men out there who are married will get this, or men who are in relationships will get this. You know that the frustration isn't with you, and you're frustrated about something that might not even be about work related. But, you know. So
hi, Sam Joe.
What's that?
I said, hi, Sam Joe. Sorry,
I just keep doing what I'm doing and just don't.
I have not been sleeping. I will say that I've been tossing and turning, and I've got my mind in a million different places. So just needed to kind of settle down, and it will by the end of this week.
Yeah, right. Because no, it won't. Because it will start a new thing. This past weekend was the last soccer game, and then your internet was out today. And now it's getting ready for graduation. And then it's graduation.
Tonight's the baccalaureate mass.
See?
Which is great.
The stress has nothing to do with the show because the show comes together regardless. Right?
Because I just talk.
Yeah.
And then you guys are like,
well,
is she done talking?
Because this is cathartic for me.
It is for me as well.
You know, so it's a reason not to think about whatever goes on in the rest of your world for 3 hours. You know, can I just say this? And I know it's coming up. I just want to say thank you to President Trump and Trump RX and working with Mark Cuban.
How does that affect you?
It takes my 3-month prescription from 88 something
It's 15.
to $21.
So you're saving 75%.
Yeah.
I know that was some really impressive quick math from a journalist.
I wouldn't say it's 75%, but whatever.
You're paying a fourth of what you were paying. You said it was 88. You're now down to 22. I mean, 21, 22. Bueller. Anyone? I'm salty today, so we'll see how that works. But guess what I saw yesterday as I'm watering the plants?
An alien?
No, a
A bud.
cardinal fly into one of my bushes
See?
where it
There
has a
you go.
nest. So my mom is close by. I know I'm weird, but I swear I think it's my mom.
You are weird.
4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane,
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back, not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we are converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America, and greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Common sense conservative values. It's just not complicated. In fact, if you're driving in your car somewhere and you're flipping through the channels and you're like, who is this fabulous woman? I know. You just got to write this down or remember this in your mind so you can get it, wendybellradio.com. We invite you to join the live video stream every single day. We love doing something unusual. We do a live radio show that we also live podcast or live stream and then podcast after the fact. And if you believe what we believe, that this is the greatest place on planet Earth, that we are infinitely blessed and that we hate bad people who lie to us and steal from us, well, welcome home. You found the right spot. I'm delighted you're here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, have you ever thought, you probably haven't, I have no life, so I think I'm kind of a loser here, but I think sometimes, what is the deep state? Well, who are the deep state? Who are these people, these nameless, faceless people that we're hearing more and more about? Tim Burchett, congressman from Tennessee, talks about the deep state today, not wanting President Trump to release the UFO files, the alien information we've been wanting. We hear about the deep state working behind the scenes in some unelected bureaucratic way during Joe Biden's administration to run the government through his auto pen and cause so freaking much damage. But what is it? Who is it? Is it an American thing? Or are there other entities out there who are a part of it? I don't know. But when I close my eyes and I think about what face represents the deep state to me, it's one person, Nancy freaking Pelosi. And I was thinking about her. She's an old bag now. And you know what? If you're an old bag because of your age, but not how you feel or how you look, don't be offended by me saying that. The woman spent like a million years in Congress, was the Speaker of the House twice from, what was it? 7 to 11 and then 19 to 23, something like that. And during the course of her 8 years, let's just talk about COVID. Let's just talk about what she did. Speaker of the House, what happened under COVID. They passed, Democrats that had control of the House of Representatives. They passed $4 trillion of extra emergency funding as they shut down the government, forced you to stop doing what you were doing, forced your children to stunt their growth and development and curiosity, and told us all to be woefully afraid and to believe in them. Believe in me. Trust the science. If you don't believe in science, right? $4 trillion. Do you want to know how much of that is estimated to be fraud and waste and abuse? About 10%. $400 billion estimated was stolen from you and from me and from our children and from grandchildren I haven't even imagined yet. And they did it with a flippin' smile on their face. And Nancy Pelosi with her freaking pterodactyl fingers, having that hammer, that gavel, she was delighted. $400 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, they changed all of the rules. They lessened all of the guide rails, all of the protections, whether it be for welfare, whether it's for student loans, whatever it was, they watered down the restrictions that would have made carving out fraud easier. Look at Minnesota. Look at what Ilhan Omar did in Congress to purposefully and legislatively tap the brakes on any kind of prevention of fraud. It was by design, and Nancy Pelosi was the freaking face of it. She's the one that got all of them in line. All of them in line. They saw COVID as an opportunity. You know what you and I looked at COVID as? Something that we needed to survive together. We looked out for one another. We did the right thing. We stayed home. We got out of each other's way. We had some grace. And then along the way, we woke up and we're like, whoa, 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 this isn't grace. This is called getting conned. And people died. And they grifted off of that death. Nancy Pelosi, $400 billion stolen of our taxpayer money just in the years of COVID. Do you want to know how much the Trump administration has clawed back? You want to know? $9.7 billion. $400 billion stolen, and we've clawed back less than 3%. That is what we are up against. That is what this is all about. How many different ways can we pretend that we have some evil we have to go fight? There's some demon that needs us. There's some poor person over here. Oh, we've got to help them. Children can't read. People can't do this. Oh, let's create some government grift under the guise of helping people. But you know what happens? Nobody gets help. Society doesn't improve. And you know what? Some of the things I've been hearing about these UFO files that allegedly we're like the dummies of the galaxy because we're the ones who haven't figured it out yet. I feel that way sometimes. Now it's a primary, it's an election day here in Pennsylvania, and there's all sorts of stuff. Get out and vote for the Republic. You know what? I don't mean to be a naysayer about it, but this is why people feel that no matter what they do, they're not going to beat the machine. No matter how cleanly we vote, no matter how many protections are in place, no matter how aware we think we are, that deep state, dark blob, and Nancy Pelosi's face to me embodies it, is out there doing everything contrary to making America great again. You know, if you're waking up as a Democrat in this country and you look at your party and you think that Donald Trump is a king, you think we have some, some government, authoritarian government, and he's some giant oppressor. And by golly, you'll do whatever it takes to get rid of him. Tell me one thing. Tell me one lousy thing that your party has done that hasn't sucked for the people of America. One thing. Have you done anything well with education? No. Giant grift. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about that later in the program. How about medicine? You guys just breaking, records out there, finding cures for stuff? No, you want to infect us with stuff so you can grift off of the cure, which is worse than the disease. What else? What else? Is it fair anywhere out there? Do they do one of something that is beneficial for you? No. And every single day, this president gets up to fulfill a promise he made to you that he was going to do everything in his power to make America great again. They've tried to vilify that, demonize that, create some kind of an ugly moniker around that. Can you imagine finding fault with the idea that America should be extraordinary, that we should be exceptional, that we should have the best, smartest, most able kids, that our technology is always cutting edge, that yes, why we have the best, most fiercest, lethal fighters in the world, we're a benevolent people who care about others. Does that sound bad to you? Because that doesn't sound bad to me. Nancy Pelosi stood there for God knows how many flippin' years that old bag was in Congress. And she inflicted so much harm. She created the emergency and then profited off of it. And the woman is worth $250 million. Please. The only reason she got away with it is because she had the gavel that long. Promise. I don't know about you, but people like Spencer Pratt give me hope. They make me feel like there's people out there just like I am who believe in things that are very simple. Because you know what? We're good people. We don't look at each other and judge based on external characteristics. We want to work together. We want everybody to do well. We want peace. We want harmony. We want safety. We want every family to be extraordinary. Not just ours, not just conservatives, not just Republicans, everybody. But by golly, I'm freaking tired of paying for all of the lawlessness and the grifting and the garbage that I believe deep state du jour Nancy was part of from the very beginning. Her fingerprints are all over the blueprints that have stolen from you and from me, and I'm done. And I hope if there is a God, and I know there is, that he's watching down upon us, because we have an opportunity, albeit rare, to claw back power from the House of Representatives to the United States Senate to every single governorship out there. Every single one of us has a job to do. I'm tired of paying for lies and for fraud and for failure, which is why I say I am a proud card-carrying member of MAGA. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Harry Enton talking about Donald Trump's Midas touch. Oh my gosh, Thomas Massey, he's sphinctered up right now, isn't he? Sweating bombs. He's like, no, I'm a good guy. Please don't pull me out. We're going to talk about what's happening there next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Having some wild temperature fluctuations over here. I love that. Super comfortable. Texas Bullion Exchange. All right, I got something I got to read to you about this. Hey, Wendy. This is from Kim. And Kim says, I'm in the middle of switching a Roth IRA, which has not done much, to Texas Bullion's Gold IRA. Remember, wendylovesgold.com. That's how you get there. wendylovesgold.com. That's Texas Bullion Exchange, and that's our landing page, which is super helpful because I can't spell bullion often. And she says, I spoke with the IRA specialist yesterday afternoon. I'm going to be speaking with another agent Monday afternoon, also to get all of the paperwork completed. As I was finishing up with the agent, we got to speaking of you and your show, and they are very excited to be working with you on a commercial. But, and this is a teaser beaser because I'm not allowed to give you details, but ... The most exciting part for me was the agent informed me that they will be sending me a... I'll have to tell you when it's official.
Yeah, it's not official yet.
It's not, because I am signing them today. Signing them indeed. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium. I didn't know anything about precious metals investing. And it's not like most people are sitting around on an extra, $10, $15, $20,000 or more. Hey, if you are, though, 855-927-5557. I've bought from them twice. It's a beautiful experience, super easy. And when you have a little bit of breathing room in your retirement plans, because it's not all in the stock market, feels good. wendylovesgold.com, wendylovesgold.com. They are super committed to the Wendy Bell Radio family. They like me, but they love you. And they're doing something very unusual that I don't think they've done before. Going to be great. I'm super excited. Thanks, Brock.
I They're lucky I don't badger them, because I think making a Wendy Bell coin, silver coin, I'd buy one.
Yep.
So it's not official yet, but it's sort of official.
What they're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I was not asked to send anything.
Hi, 3,300 here. We're killing it on X, 123. How are you? I love that you're here. The Rumble button is a huge thing. If you have problems with the Rumble button, send me a message. Go to the comments section or put something here and say, I don't understand, or what am I supposed to do? And somebody here in the community will tell you, because you get a vote every single day, and how you exercise it helps me tremendously. So come on now. It's the little thumbs up bubble underneath the video box. Just click that and then hit follow. We're inching closer. In the grinder. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. It's an interesting thought process. And it's interesting, too, that we could look at the success that President Trump has with his endorsements. In fact, we're kind of in this holding pattern because we understand that 12:30 or 1 o'clock Eastern today, so kind of any minute, the president is going to be announcing his endorsement for the Senate candidate in the great state of Texas. So is it going to be Ken Paxton? Darn well better be. Because if it's not, and he decides to endorse John Cornyn, I'm going to go to the Oval Office and I'm going to maybe throw somebody down the steps. You know how it's going to go. Harry Enton talking about President Trump's endorsement gold finger in 2020, 2022, 24, and now 2026. Wait until you hear what his winning percentage is. Oh, my.
So President Trump endorsed an opponent here. How does President Trump do in general when he endorses the Republican primary?
You know, we've quoted the movie Good Burger every single time, basically, when we've done this. When, in fact, you go against President Trump, you go in the grinder, and you could just see this. Times Trump endorsees have won in GOP primaries. It's about 95% each of the last 4 cycles. Now, I will note, you know, sometimes he endorses and there's no real challenger. But even in those cases, the challengers to the incumbent have won a majority of the time as well. And one of the key reasons why that is right is you look at Trump's approval rating within the GOP, 21st century own party approval. At this point in term 2, he's still at 83%. That's more popular than Obama was with Democrats, way more popular than George W. Bush was with Republicans back in 2006. So the power of a Trump endorsement is still sky high, and we'll see tomorrow if that happens with Thomas Massey.
95% through 6 election cycles. That is President Trump's endorsement gold with congressional and gubernatorial candidates, right? Harry continues and talks about Thomas Massey today in Kentucky. If he survives today's primary, according to the prediction markets, well, it looks like it's going to be tricky for him because the poor lad has lost, 27 points he's dropped in the last 11 days. Listen.
So the Trump political world descending on Kentucky, trying to unseat Thomas Massey tomorrow in this Republican primary. What are the prediction markets saying? How is this race going?
To put it mildly, I don't think that Donald Trump likes Thomas Massey. Yeah. And if you look at the prediction markets, it looks like they may get their man. They may get their man. Look at this. Chance that Massey is, in fact, the Kentucky 4 GOP nominee. It has been falling considerably over the last 10 days, according to the cash prediction market. Look at this. It was 71% 10 days ago. Look where that number is now. It's 44%. So chances more likely than not, though it is very close, that Massey will, in fact, go down to defeat. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see the votes getting cast and counted because this is quite close. But any time that an incumbent member of Congress goes down, he has done something seriously wrong in the minds of the voters. And in this case, if Massey goes down, it is that he crossed Donald John Trump.
You know, J.D. Vance was somewhere yesterday. I forget the specifics, but he was taking questions. The vice president was. And there was a young woman in the audience, and she actually had a really astute question. She asked him, she said, Mr. Vice President, the way the president turns on people who don't do what he wants, it seems like this is a party that demands 100% getting in line with 100% solid support of whatever this president wants. And if you deviate from that at all, there's no conversation. There's no room for you to be an independent thinker. And JD said, you know what? That's not true at all. And he says, the reason why Thomas Massie is in the position Thomas Massie is in isn't because President Trump doesn't like one or two of his votes. It's that every single time we've come to him with pivotal votes, things that matter, that are conservative, that are good for America, every single time he has voted no. So he's being obstructionist. He's doing it on purpose. And after a while, the party loses patience with that, and it needs to replace you. He's like, I like Thomas Massie. He's a good man. I served with him in Congress. He was one of the first people who encouraged me to run for office. But he has obviously got something wrong with President Trump, and he votes against us every single time. I thought it was a great answer. Harry continues. Finally, audio soundbite number 3, asking about Bill Cassidy losing his primary in Louisiana as an incumbent, showing the power of this president. He got the worst primary showing since 1946. What?
And I think one of the things the prediction markets might be seeing is what happened a couple days ago in Louisiana, where the incumbent Republican Bill Cassidy didn't just lose, he lost badly in a Republican primary where the president endorsed an opponent.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people who are putting their money where their mouths are seeing is seeing exactly what Johnny B said, which was saw what happened in Louisiana on Saturday. And I went back, and this is sort of just going back through the archives to see how bad Bill Cassidy did. He got 25% of the vote, okay? I went back and I looked at every single non-appointed senator. This, in my mind, was the worst primary showing ever, at least since the end of World War II. That is how badly Bill Cassidy did. He did worse than every single one, getting 25% of the vote for a senator in a primary. It's literally unheard of, and that is because, of course, Donald Trump endorsed against this guy.
You know, it's interesting. Stephen Miller put out, I haven't seen Stephen Miller in forever, national treasure that he is, the deputy chief of staff for policy in this administration. And he's wearing, at first, I don't see him wearing ball caps ever, but he's wearing a big red, Make America Great Again ball cap. And he goes on for 2.5 minutes about how Thomas Massie betrayed America, how he betrayed the voters, how he betrayed our children. And he said the single most important issue affecting the future of our country is ending the mass third world invasion of America and reversing that. But on the most important issue, on the most important vote, on the most important bill, the most important day, Thomas Massie sided with the House Democrats and basically against the American people. That was the moment for this administration. President Trump saying, get him out. We're watching. We'll see what happens. Obviously, all the results tomorrow that you need. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, it's happening again. California on fire. California burning, not far from where I grew up. Where is the water? What next?
So that is close to your dad?
Simi Valley is not far away. Simi Valley in Chatsworth is not far away at all. And the way these fires spread, it's just, So I don't know if you guys can tell. You probably can't tell, but I can tell. My hair doesn't normally grow as fast as it has. I've been growing it out for about 2 months now. And I was like, gosh, it seems a lot longer than normal. And even my kids were noticing it. And I have to think it's the Healthy Cell. Healthy Cell hair, skin, and nails. If you have this formula at home, Healthy Cell puts wonderful nutraceuticals, adaptogens, things that we've known about since the beginning of time that occur in nature with plants and what have you, that are phenomenally healing and helpful. And they've put all these ingredients together, not big pharma, not drugs, no prescription needed. And my friends at Healthy Cell package their supplements into a microgel where you just open it up and slurp it into your mouth. And it's that. And I think the flavors are delicious. And I super appreciate how easily it is to digest and absorb into your body. Healthycell.com/Wendy. I take many of them. Hair, skin, and nails is wonderful. If your skin is looking a little thin, if your nails are paper thin and your hair just isn't shiny or lustrous, I'm telling you, this formula, give it about 2 weeks and then look in the mirror and take a good hard look at what you look like. And it's wonderful. Transformation is obvious. Healthycell.com/Wendy. You're going to get a nice discount there too. 20%, I believe, on your first order. They're great. Stephen Miller wearing a MAGA hat. It's so funny. He just does not look like a hat guy.
No.
At all. 1.39. Let's see if you guys can get us up to 1.7.
Wow.
Let's get up to 1.7. That means 300 people being in charge here, being active. Ooh. Are people still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
No, with the alien. How are you ever going to believe
They're never going to let that
anything
information
about the Epstein stuff anymore?
It's the ultimate cudgel. If Donald Trump is doing something well, we're going to come over here and we're going to drop a story at the Daily Beast that Donald Trump's name was blah, 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 and they'll come up with something. Anonymous sources, people close to the investigation told us, on the condition of anonymity, of course. It's all they'll do. They'll float the Chinese spy balloon out there to see if they can chip away at his popularity or his success.
That's so
It's
down on
disgusting.
my list of things I want to see people. I want to see Fauci destroyed.
I want to see him fried. I want to see him penniless, humiliated.
I want to see all the January 6th stuff come out. I want to see all the alien stuff.
Some wild stuff coming up at the bottom of the show, at the end of the show at 2:30.
I want to see all that stuff that has, and maybe this is wrong because I wasn't a survivor, but I want to see the stuff that has relevance to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with having a fund to pay the people that they financially destroyed
Yes.
on January 6th. The government should pay. They're fighting, and you can't be like, well, that's taxpayer money. Well,
No.
they use taxpayer money to
On
destroy
everything.
these people.
And you know what? Nothing is going to bring back Matt Perna.
No. It's just that. I didn't get too much hate, by the way, in the comments section.
Ultra says, damn, Wendy, even hardcore has stopped talking about Epstein. I know, right? What are we talking about? Why are we? They're not going to tell you. If Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton were doing disgusting things with children or drinking blood or eating people or whatever the hell some weird people say, and would I be surprised? Would I sit here and be like, get out of town? Hillary Clinton ate a child's face? Stop it. That's gross. I believe everything now. I believe nothing and I believe everything all at once. Who'd be surprised? You'd be like, oh, yeah, I could see that.
I'd rather see the 9/11 stuff come out.
Show us what happened. What really happened?
Because if enough of this comes out, we find out you're lying to us.
Mm-hmm.
When we find out you're lying to us, we're gonna think you're lying to us about everything,
100%.
including Epstein. So I already think you're lying about Epstein, to be honest with you. But yeah,
you know what makes me happy when I'm fussy?
Morgane's Fitness.
This cutie bug woman, look at how cute she is. First of all, she's darling on the left, right? She's like, you know what? I've gotten a little soft. I want to firm some stuff up. So she spent 90 days working out at home. Actually, I don't know if she was doing it at home, but you can. You can. That's the beauty of Morgane's Fitness. She changed how she ate. She got more exercise. She did the exercises that Kelly told her to that she got on video. And I don't even have to give you the stats, the inches, the fat, the waist, the weight, all of it. She looks great. That's 90 days. What could you do to your body in 90 days? Are you done looking in the mirror and looking away because you don't like what you see? Are you done putting on your pants and being like, shucks, these used to fit me? Are you done making excuses for feeling like a turd? Because it's a terrible feeling to feel like a turd. Been there many times. MoreGainsFitness.com. 90 days, 90 Ignite. That's what it's called. Sign up for it there no matter where you live. That's the beauty of it. You're not restricted by boundaries. It's all done online. Or if you are in Pennsylvania, it's in Somerset and Cambria counties. Kelly has 4 gyms. 90 Ignite. Get in touch with her. Morgainsfitness.com. I love that girl. I don't know why. She's just so cute. I wonder if she knows I put up her picture like once a week. She's probably like, who? You know, growing up in Southern California, we did earthquake drills and fire drills. And it's so sad today that it's by and large active shooter drills. Think about that for a minute. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I went to middle school at a place in the canyons in Southern California, leading down to the beach to Malibu. It was nowhere near the ocean, but it was on this very brown hillscape. After a great rain, the hills would turn green, but it happened irregularly and frequently. And so commonly we were under this heightened threat of fires, of just wildfires. For whatever reason, it happened. And we were evacuated a few times in the time that I was there in middle school. And I remember going to our lockers because they were all outside. Everything was outside. And you'd open up your locker and out would come ashes that would travel through the air and settle around you. This is how we grew up, right? So when you know that you live in an arid area, you know you've got a lot of land that's dry and barren. You've got tumbleweeds all over the place. That's like a matchstick waiting to happen. All it takes is one cigarette butt and right, you've got everything going on. So one would imagine that a shrewd, prudent way to govern, to be the mayor, if Mayor Karen Bass was at all anything qualified, you'd make sure that you had a very active fire department, that they were well-staffed, well-trained, and well-outfitted. Of course, you would want to make sure that you had water. That would be one of those things, water. And if you don't have enough water, where are we going to get more? Where are these places that we can get more water to protect the residents? There's another fire burning. This one in Simi Valley, not far from where I grew up in Calabasas, California. And this is a serious deal right now because Spencer Pratt, the Republican mayoral candidate there in Los Angeles, he posts just an incredible response ad to this latest Democratic attack on him. And then he gets pretty serious about this new fire. And he's like, you know what? I just need to know, why on earth do we still not have the reservoirs filled? Remember the reservoirs that were empty during the Palisades Inferno that wiped out 6,000 homes and killed 12 people? Because those homes have not been rebuilt, not even close. And those reservoirs apparently have not been filled. Now, what would you be doing the next day after a fire? Wouldn't you be saying, all right, we need to sit down and figure out how we fix this problem, how we protect our people? Never again. No, Karen Bass was more worried about manipulating the after action report that showed that she sucked, that they defunded the fire department, that they were woefully understaffed, that the hydrants weren't working and the trucks were out of commission. It's like every possible thing that could go wrong could go wrong. You guys know that there've already been 1,400 fires in California this year. I mean, that's mind-bending. But this one is not at all good, and it's gaining speed. It's gaining momentum. 1,436 wildfires recorded so far in California in 2026 that have burned roughly 32,000 acres. It's about 50 square miles. This is according to CAL FIRE's official incident archive. So where are we from here, right? You live in California, you understand the conditions, you understand the challenge, you know the danger, you've lived through the danger and survived it. So what are you doing to protect people? Nothing. Karen Bass is giving dentures to meth heads, taxpayer dollars. She's not filling the reservoirs. Tell me how that makes sense. Tell me how you're a Democrat in Los Angeles and you're like, ooh, I love my party. They're fabulous. Because you can't. Because they suck. And they're dangerous. I want you to hear Jesse Waters over on Fox last night. He's like, look, 9 months after, thousands of homes burned and those people died. These reservoirs are empty, and it's going to take about $20 million to fill them. But instead of filling the reservoirs, Yeah, Karen's got a few other priorities. Let's listen in.
You know who could use some water? L.A. 9 months after 16,000 homes burnt to a crisp, the reservoirs are still drier than the Sahara.
The reservoir's empty right now. I was literally just up on the hill, and we're just flying the drone over the reservoir, and it's bone dry.
Here's the best part. You can go up my street. This is the reservoir that they also drained when they were fixing the other one. They said, let's drain this one. So there's actually 2 reservoirs that were drained, the Palisades Reservoir and the Santa Ynez. 2 reservoirs, both empty, during peak fire season. Why? Well, the city drained them to use for drinking water, not for fighting fires. Now, the repairs cost $20 million, and Bass doesn't have the cash. So L.A. finds the money for needles, crack pipes, hotels for illegals, but not $20 million to keep Malibu from turning into a brisket or the taps from running dry. Pratt's breathing down Pink Pantsuit's neck in the polls, but come up short, well, he's taking his trailer to Texas. If Karen Bass gets reelected or Nithya gets elected, I will be done with trying to live in L.A., and I'll go find somewhere that my kids will not have to see naked zombies, and I can have the last American dream somewhere. But I will not rebuild if these people are in charge, because what would I be putting money into?
Possibly would you be investing in more destruction, more bad management, more moron DEI hires because it makes liberals feel good? Oh, she's a black woman. Let's totally get her. How'd that work? Right? How'd that work? I don't blame Spencer Pratt. This is why you're seeing an exodus from the blue states. It's not only unaffordable, it's unsafe. Period. Jesse Waters continues. Bass's priority, of course, not to fill the reservoirs. Listen.
Also on homelessness, at the pantry earlier this week, you were talking about comprehensive health care for the unhoused. And you talked about how many of the unhoused, because of their meth use, lose their teeth.
That's right.
Who would pay for the dental care for the unhoused?
When I say comprehensive health care, it's actually what people can get from Medi-Cal. The problem is that the linkage isn't made with the people and the services.
So
and
that would be taxpayers?
System, well, we already pay for it. It's already paid for. It's the linkage that hasn't happened.
Empty reservoirs, free teeth for meth addicts, barbecue bans, migrant breast implants. No wonder ballots are booming.
Went and got coffee, and in the line we have a ballot. Get your ballots in. Thank you so much. Let's go. Let's go.
Democrats tried to roast Pratt for crashing at the Hotel Bel Air after they deep fried his house. Big mistake, because they just gave him a brand new title.
In West Los Angeles, Palisades, in my backyard is where I spend most of my days. Feeding hummingbirds, relaxing all cool, avoiding all the bums outside of the school. When a couple politicians, the world to no good, started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fire, my mom got scared and said, "You're moving in with Harvey Levin in Bel Air."
The Pratt factor's red hot. Moms are storming the polls for the prince.
If you're a mom and you have been listening to what he's been saying, you should know that he is advocating for the safety and security of our families, and specifically for mothers to be able to walk their kids to school and to parks. And if you have any voting power, please exercise that power, because moms should be supporting Pratt.
Now, on the flip side of this, you've got flunky, you've got triggered toxic white college-educated flunky Chelsea Handler laying a monster DEI egg by claiming Spencer Pratt is unqualified to do the job that Mayor Bass is doing such a great job doing. And you'll never believe why she says that.
Chelsea Handler didn't get an invite to the Pratt party, so she hopped on Insta and tried to crash it. Watch.
If you're seeing this video, this is a reminder that a straight white male, former reality star that has no previous experience in government, should not be a legitimate political candidate. Have we learned anything yet?
The backlash has Pratt picking up allies by the hour. TMZ transitioned. They're telling the straight white lady to wise up.
What the hell is Chelsea Handler? The idea, straight white male, that makes somebody disqualified? What the hell is this? Is her point was privileged, right? Oh, you're not supposed to vote for straight white males. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous to say that. It is absurd to say that. This is why people hate the left right now. George Washington was a straight white male.
George Washington was a straight white male. Interesting that TMZ, which was trying to put the screws to Spencer Pratt for staying at the Hotel Bel Air. And he's like, I don't have a house. I don't live at the Hotel Bel Air. I don't live in my trailer. I don't live in San Diego. I'm homeless because they burned my home down. And now all of a sudden TMZ is on Spencer Pratt's side. And finally, Jesse Sissons Bass couldn't finish Spencer at the disastrous mayoral debate. She's apparently working with the other candidate, the socialist Nithya Raman, to break Pratt's back. Interesting. Listen.
Bass couldn't take on the straight white male by herself. Pratt says she cooked up a backroom deal with Raman, the noodle.
Guys, Nithya Raman is conspiring with Karen Bass. Remember when Nithya shocked everyone and jumped into the mayor's race at the last minute, inexplicably just days after endorsing Karen? Why would she do that? Why isn't Karen upset? Why do they never attack each other? Because Karen saw that I was a serious threat and she made Nithya jump in the race to block me out from the number 2 slot.
The ladies torched the city, got fleeced by fraudsters, handed out needles to homeless junkies, and then pointed their fingers at Trump like the voters wouldn't notice. Even other Democrats are like, girls, enough.
But we can't put everything on Donald Trump. We have the highest homelessness in the United States of America, the highest gas prices, the highest utilities, the highest home prices. People can't afford rent. And those happened under Democratic policies.
California's rigged game's unraveling. 2 Republicans are polling high enough to crash the runoff. Now, all of a sudden, Democrats are ready to burn their jungle primary to the ground. The same one they spent 15 years defending.
Now, what's interesting is coming up later in the broadcast, Gavin Newsom, governor, obviously, of California, he says something that catches the attention of Scott Jennings. It'll catch your attention, too, because they're so used to getting away with it. They're so used to being bad at what they do because there are no standards on the left. It's a matter of, can you keep the grift going? Can you be a clone trooper and do whatever the blob says? Can you allow us to grift, enrich ourselves, and endlessly flow money into the coffers for the Democrats that no Democrat's giving to? Why? Why would you? And Gavin Newsom says, you know, we've got a plan B. If all else fails with this jungle primary, which is coming up next month, June 2nd, we've got another plan. Really? That sounds like a threat to democracy to me. I'm just saying. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, and what happens if Trump endorses Spencer Pratt? Right? You want to see flames. Holy cow. Did you hear about Gavin? We're going to talk about Gavin Newsom's $23 million hearing aid scandal. Do they have no shame? Can you hear me now? No. Next. Disgusting.
I just texted you.
Did you? Is it Trump?
It'll hurt your feelings.
Wow.
No.
Nice. Let's do this as a breaker on the way back, if you don't mind. Let me tell you guys about. I was talking with people at the gym about this today. So, you know, I talk about Blood Flow 7 all the time, and I'm going to talk more about them coming up. I can tell when and I'm not one of those people who works out and looks in the mirror like, oh, how do I look? Like, I just want to make sure I have the right form, but I'm not interested in what I look like. But I had a tank top on today, and I was exercising, and I could tell the crepiness that I noticed in my arms about 8-9 months ago. I don't see it. And I'm very excited about that because it's the number one reason I started taking collagen peptides. I actually reached out to them and said, hey, do you want to sponsor my program for a while? Because I take your collagen and I'm going to swear by it. So I've been taking it for several months, and you have to take it for several months. It is, first of all, extraordinarily cost effective. They give us up to 45% off at Get Native Path. So it's called Native Path. GetNativePath.com/Wendy, up to 45% off. This is the easiest thing to add to your life. You're not even thinking about it. If you're drinking something, you take a scoop, it's 10 grams of collagen peptides for your hair, your skin, your nails, your gut, your joints, your ligaments, your cartilage, all of it. The skin. I'm telling you, right here. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. 10 grams, collagen peptides. They've got a wonderful storefront. Their products are so reasonably priced, and we get phenomenal deals. Phenomenal deals. I think you'll love them. They're super responsive. They love when they get new customers, and they want you for life. And so they'll work for you. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. I was like, I'm just going to try it. Why not? I'm going to fight that as much as I can. I don't want to have old lady arms. No offense to old ladies who have those arms, but I'm going to fight it. All right. Let's see what's going on out there. How are you guys? Almost at 4,000. Little slow start, 1.64. We have 360 people we need to get to 2,000 rumbles. You guys are doing great. Doing great. How about some of your comments over here? Let's see what you guys are. 130 comments. That's wonderful. Hi, Shenanigans. Hi, Myron. Good to see you. Hi, Rumble Seat. Hi, Rumble Seat. Oregon. Love it. Mr. Black Dog. Hello. Hi, Karen. Hi, Rob V. The deep state just continues with their evil ways destroying this country. I agree, but I want to know who that is. Hi, Muddy Hands. Good to see you. Bowling Mom. Yes. Lancaster, PA, we have a new data center going in. We know they use a crap ton of power. Water usage rates here are stupid. 3 rates, residential, business, and industrial per gallon rates.
When I first moved into my house, I was paying $25 a month for water. I now pay an average of $135 a month.
Wow. I won't tell you what mine is.
Well, there's 5 of you and you, or 7 of you, and you water the lawn. I don't have a lawn, and there's 2 of us.
Mm-hmm.
I make Kate shower in the gym, or
oh my goodness, gravy.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Yeah.
I have to read this to you guys. It's just nutty, but we'll first get the breaking news.
Or I hose her off with the neighbor's hose.
You hose her off with the neighbor's hose. Oh my God. Is just in now, Brock. Very excited.
Wendy Bell Radio. Breaking news.
That's it. This is from President Donald J. Trump. The highly respected Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, an America First patriot and someone who has always been extremely loyal to me and our amazing MAGA movement, is running for the United States Senate to represent a place I love and won big 3 times with a 6.4 million votes in 2024, the most votes in the history of the state. I know Ken well. I've seen him tested at the highest and most difficult levels, and he is a winner. Ken is a strong supporter of terminating the filibuster. Bing, 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 bing. And very importantly, the Save America Act, something which polls at 87%, including Democrats, and yet can't seem to get approved. Perhaps Ken can, because with the filibuster, as an example, the Democrats will terminate it on their first day in office, giving us 2 extra states, D.C. and Puerto Rico, and a greatly enlarged Supreme Court of the United States, probably going with their dream number of 21 justices from the 9 we currently have. And these new justices will be radical left lunatics. 2 years ago, our country was dead, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world, and I want to keep it that way. Ken Paxton will help me do that, making America bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. As if he had a choice. John Cornyn is a rhino, and he needs to go. So we're going to be watching that as we're also watching Kentucky today. All right, I need to tell you about this. Did you guys hear about Gavin Newsom's $23 million hearing aid scandal. Yeah, it just broke, and it is worse than you might think. California has this really great knack for taking a simple problem and turning it into a government-funded disaster that costs millions, helps pretty much nobody, and still gets sold back to the public as a success. Isn't that true? This is from Revolver News. The latest example of this is a state program that was supposed to help children get hearing aids. Kind of basic stuff, right? Kids need to hear, families need to help. The state claims it has a solution, but boy, were they wrong. And when you look at the shocking numbers, the whole mess feels like a full-blown money laundering scheme. You think? Just another bloated California scam where the money disappears into administration costs, never to be seen or heard from again. Math ain't mathin', folks. And honestly, it's hard to look at the numbers without wondering if this wasn't a huge scam simply to rake in millions. So the program spends $23 million on hearing aids for children. 5 years later, how many kids do you think have hearing aids, guys? $23 million. Retail cost normally about $1,400 for them. 300 children have been giving hearing aids. 5 years, 300 children, ladies and that is a cost of $76,666 per hearing aid. You want to chew on that for a minute? Yeah. Gavin Newsom pushed lawmakers toward a state-run program instead of requiring private insurers to cover the pediatric hearing aids. If the retail cost is $1,400 and the state only provided $300, then that's a cost of $420,000. Gavin Newsom spent $23 million. If you look into where the money allegedly went, officially, it went to administrative and overhead costs instead of providing hearing aids. In other words, money laundering. And that is how it's done. Find a problem. Find a victim to assign the problem. Go to the government that you control and say, it's what we should do. It's for the greater good. And all of the idiots who vote alongside of you will be like, yeah, it sounds great. And then when you roll it out, you have to have at least a little bit of window dressing. Couple kids here and there, right? Throw a couple of those things on. Okay, bye-bye. And then we'll pocket the rest. His refusal to take greater action to help kids with hearing loss stands in contrast to his action last week to provide free diapers, as well as swift reversal earlier this year to expand menopause care for women in the budget, right? I mean, is there something that you can't grift off of? Now, I've gone long in this, and we're going to have to wait until the next segment to get you a little bit of Scott Jennings, because he says, Gavin Newsom does, he has a plan. Ladies and gentlemen, if the jungle primary in California squeezes out the primary, and the jungle primary is what the Democrats fought for and fought for it about 15 years ago, it's what they have. And now they've got Republicans leading the leaderboard, possibly squeezing out the Democrats altogether. So when we come back, I'm going to play what Gavin Newsom says he's going to do, because he says he has a plan in the event that the voters don't get with the program and they can't cheat enough to get their Democrats across the line. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk about TrumpRx.gov. Do you take Lipitor or Metformin? Do you take Linacapril or Norvasc, some of the most popularly prescribed medications? Well, your costs just went down bigly. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. That's big. I'm telling you. The 5 most prescribed drugs in the United States are now going to be $4 to $15 a month because of TrumpRx.com. Mark Cuban is going to become a gadzillionaire out of this.
I don't think he is. Because he only work off a 15% margin.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to himself, this is his legacy.
Oh, so he's kind of he's got the Trump bug.
Yes.
I want to leave something behind that's not money.
I lied.
About Trump being a socialist? Communist, rather?
No.
What?
That my prescriptions will become $29.97.
Oh, okay. So yours are going to be cut more than
But it's
in
like
half.
$10 a month,
Mhm.
$120 a year. I was spending 80 some every 4 months, every 3 months. The kicker is too, can we talk about the Trump RX?
Yeah.
If you take medication, I think you should go see it. It gives you a tracker, right? So like it tells you where the cheapest place to get it is Cost RX, which is Mark Cuban's mail order pharmacy. But then it goes down to everywhere you can get it in your area in a little map and tells you how much it's going to be. Like I get mine filled at Costco. Costco's sort of cheap for everything else. Not even in the top 5.
Interesting.
So I'm like, guess what I'm going to sign up for?
So the big announcement yesterday had to do with generics. We'll talk about it. It's very important. And of course, the media could only hear one thing. They could not hear what? Because remember, before Trump put the screws to the most favored nations clause, and it was like, we demand the most favored nations clause. We deserve to have the lowest prices of any other country, whatever the cheapest cost is anywhere out there. American citizens deserve that price. So that's what he demanded. That's what we're getting now. That alone is more than anything the Biden administration did for you. That one thing alone. That's what kills me. That's what kills me. And yet he's doing this. He's fighting all these wars. He closed the border. 0 people for a calendar year crossed the border, guys. 0 for our Hispanic friends. Right? And what did the Biden administration do? Oh, they opened up the gates. Well, what are you? It takes Congress to do that. Shut it. Oh, really? Okay. Dr. Gundry. Dr. Gundry. Calling Dr. Gundry. Who has a lot of weight they want to lose? What if you have 50 pounds to lose? It's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. What if you have 80 pounds to lose? Process is hard. And I think the number one thing that can really throw you off your game is feeling as though you're doing all the right things, but the number on the scale isn't budging. It's very defeating. And it's defeating as a smaller person. I've put on weight. I've been 50 pounds heavier before, almost 60, right? And it's hard when you're trying to take it off. If you plateau, it's very defeating. This is one of those things that helps push you past the plateau, because Dr. Gundry's MCT Wellness, which you can get by going to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. You just put this in your water and you shake it up and it's delicious. And all of a sudden, for 4 or 5 hours, you're not hungry. How about that? Not to mention all the other stuff it does for you. Ketones for more energy. It's got polyphenols, which are phenomenal for you. All this other stuff. Forget all that. It keeps you from being starving, from thinking about donuts, which is what I craved for a long time. This right here. So if you're already drinking water, why wouldn't you put a scoop of this in your water and skip a meal? That's the beauty of Dr. Gundry's MCT Wellness. He lost 70 pounds drinking this. 70. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy.
You crave the diet donuts, the holes.
Oh. Yeah, I'm like Munchkins. I'll take 2 dozen. That'll be great.
Oh, you're having a party. Yeah,
Oh.
in my car on the way to work. Show up, you got frosting all over your face. What was your favorite?
Joe's like, wow, you're getting big. I'm like, I don't know, baby's hungry. I like probably either.
You look like just a glazed girl.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glazed are the plain ones, but usually glazed.
I like those
Because you have to be.
French crullers.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're diet donuts. They're airy. It's not dense. So you can have 2 to 3 per one
Mhm.
of those cake donuts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's how
At
I
least
got.
that's what I told myself. That's
Yeah.
why I said, well, little Debbie's are just this big, so
Mhm.
I can have 4. Because they're like not a real cookie. They're
Oh God, I can't. You did.
what?
You just said it.
What? Cookie?
Yes.
What's wrong with cookie?
Oh my gosh, but you say it like a 4-year-old.
Cookie.
No, like you should have a big lollipop. Can
You
I
know
have
how
a
many
cookie?
licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop?
Oven.
227.
Is that what you did?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I was on a long bus ride.
One time at band camp?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
All right, people. Did you get us to 2 yet? My heavens. If you haven't, I'm going to be so mad. 180 to go. You can do it. We still have a minute, 2 minutes before we start. Let's do it.
Busy day tomorrow.
You have a busy day, yeah, because you can't cut the grass?
No, it didn't rain at her house.
Oh, nice.
So I can cut the grass, but I have a back appointment tomorrow.
Oh, you do?
And a game.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, that'll be good timing for you.
Yeah, I should probably make it
For the next
Friday
day, I know.
after.
Right?
Actually, I should call and be like, I have a game. Can I wait till after the game?
They would.
Yeah.
They'd
I
move you
might
to
actually
Friday.
do that.
Who else has somebody graduating this week? Michael's flying in. Ryan's coming back from his job at camp.
I didn't get invited.
Oh, shush.
Did I?
Do you want to go to graduation? I'd love to have you if you want to go.
No, I'm busy now. I have things to do.
Okay.
5, 4,
Lies anyway.
3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. As always, a joy to be with you. WendyBellRadio.com if you want to join the live video stream. We are less than 100,000 people away from getting, 8 million podcast downloads. Just plug our name in wherever you get your favorite listening material. Wendy Bell Radio, and you'll join our family. Welcome back. All right, I want to start this before we get into this historic deal that I think Trump has made with really kind of a never-Trumper, a billionaire who voted against him. This is one of the things I like about Donald Trump. I don't know if it's fair for us to say that he holds grudges, but he keeps score. He keeps track of who does what, when, and how. And he puts on a shelf his own personal feelings about someone when that someone can help him do something that's great for America. Why would people not want to get behind this? Right? I want to start, though. I told you right before we went long on the last segment. I want you to hear this Scott Jennings audio clip because this is scary to me as we enter into this primary season. You got the midterms coming up in November. Gavin Newsom, governor of the state of California, saying if the jungle primary squeezes out Democrat candidates in his state, don't worry, he's got a plan. What?
Did you hear what California Governor Gavin Newsom had to say this weekend? You know, he's term limited, and there's a primary going on in California, a jungle primary they call it, where all the candidates of both parties run at the same time. The top 2 vote getters advance to the November election. And there has been some polling showing the possibility of 2 Republicans claiming the top 2 slots. Could be unlikely, but certainly possible. Newsom was asked about that over the weekend. What he said, frankly, pretty chilling. Take a listen to this at cut number 5.
We all have agencies. We can shape the future. There's still a lot. Look, I've said this before, so I'll repeat it. I don't anticipate this need to be the case, but there is a break the glass scenario, and there's many people that have a deep understanding of what it would look like if Democrats were locked out, and we're going to do everything to make sure that doesn't happen. I'll leave it at that.
Now, I want you to think about what they always say about Trump, that he is a threat to democracy, that he doesn't respect the will of the voters. And what you just heard there, Gavin Newsom saying that if the primary doesn't turn out the way he wants, that they've got an emergency plan to keep Republicans from assuming power. Well, it's pretty incredible stuff and pretty chilling when you add it to what Democrats are arguing they will do to the Supreme Court and other levers of power should they regain the White House in 2028. Trump exercises his will in elections, but Democrats, well, apparently they plan to exercise power through decidedly non-democratic means.
We can fix it, Gavin Newsom said. Oh, really? Can you now? So as that's percolating on the back burner of your mind, consider this. President Trump announces 600 generic drugs have been added to TrumpRx.gov. If you've not checked it out, it's a very interesting site. It's where you should go if you take prescription medicine, and it's where you're going to be able to find the lowest prices in your neighborhood. So Trump announcing Monday that TrumpRx.gov is expanding the number of drugs it offers nearly sevenfold by offering 600 generics to its website. The president informed reporters of the move on Monday in the South Court Auditorium of the Eisenhower Executive Building on the White House campus. And he's like, look, I'm thrilled. We're going to be doing this. It's important to do. Now, he said the website will offer the lowest prices on drugs that tens of millions of Americans need, including a lot of drugs that I know you guys take regularly. I want you to hear what he says as he makes this announcement. You've got to go to TrumpRx.gov to check out your prices on 600 generics that are now at your fingertips.
Today, I'm thrilled to announce that we're increasing the number of drugs available on TrumpRx by nearly 7 times, adding over 600 affordable generics to the website, working with industry partners. Cost-effective generic drugs are often available at just a tiny fraction of the price of their brand name equivalents, and in theory, they're the same thing. Sometimes they're better, with the same dosage, the same effectiveness, and the same active ingredients, yet many consumers do not think to ask for them. They don't know about them. By incorporating this massive catalog of low-cost generics at TrumpRx.gov, consumers will now have one source to ensure that they're getting the lowest possible cost on their prescription. So they have a real option now. Today, they have something that they've never had before. They've never had anything like this or even close.
Use Brock as an example. Brock's epilepsy drugs that he caught. That what do you pay now for 3-month supply? About $90.
I have 2 prescriptions that I get filled, and I literally just got them filled, and it was like 88 something and some change.
Okay, so you went on TrumpRx.gov, and what did you find?
I found out that my one drug for 3 months will be $15.41, and one drug a month for 3 months will be $14.56. Now, let me preface this by saying I had gold level insurance with the prescription part until I changed. It was gold level, and they were $15.
Huh.
So this is even cheaper than the best that I could get through insurance.
So this is going to cut him in half. Basically, your savings will be about 50%. TrumpRx.gov. Now, Mark Cuban, he gets up and he's like, look, Americans, regardless of how they vote, like to save money, right? And it's curious because obviously he's not a huge Trump supporter. Mark Cuban has said all sorts of stuff about this president, but what have you. Trump sees he sees an opportunity to partner with Mark Cuban's company to do something phenomenal for the American people. Listen.
Thank you for having me, Mr. President. I think other than you, I've been the biggest proponent of TrumpRx.com. And the reason for that is Republicans want cheaper drugs, independents want cheaper drugs, Democrats want cheaper drugs, and together, I think we're going to do something special. What makes Cost Plus drugs different is that when you click through TrumpRx to our site, not only will you see a great price, but you'll see our actual cost and that we only mark it up 15%. And what makes this incredible, Mr. President, all the volume and all the people that are going to come from the site, as our volumes go up, our costs go down, which means we'll be ending up charging less to people over a period of time. So this is a special announcement. This is a special partnership. 559 of those drugs are ours, so we're really excited to be part of this. Thank you so much for having me.
Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs kind of working in concert here with TrumpRx.gov to give you the best of the best, the lowest prices on the planet. Now, President Trump gets back and he's asked by a reporter a very interesting question. This is, of course, what they're interested in. Not the medicine, not the cost savings, not the collab, but this.
President, it's pretty remarkable seeing you and Mark Cuban up there, and the fact that obviously Mark endorsed Kamala Harris back in 2021.
Well, he made a mistake. It was a big mistake.
But what does this say about what you two are building here?
Well, it says we love people. We love our country. He's got a good company, and he's going to do a lot of business with this. And I'm going to get drugs out through Amazon,
through all the various ways we could get it to the American people for the least amount of money. See, to this president, you can make a deal with people who don't vote for you because it's bigger than you, right? There's a reason he dropped the hammer on Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie, as a congressman, became malignant. He became a force opposing Trump no matter what. Now, Donald Trump doesn't care if Mark Cuban endorsed him or voted for him or what have you. You offer a service that can benefit the American people. Let's bring this stuff together. Let's make it better. Let's make America great again. And Bobby Kennedy, of all people, again, somebody who's a Democrat, who this president said, you ran against me and I see you and I want you. You should be my Health and Human Services Secretary, had this to say.
Promised to do this. President Clinton promised to do it. President Biden promised to do it. President Obama promised to do it. President Trump actually got it done. And it's an extraordinary accomplishment. It's an extraordinary legacy for him, and it's a gift to the American people. And I want to thank you again for your vision and for your determination.
You know what you have forming, and we've had it, but we're just starting to see it more, is some extraordinarily wealthy individuals who long ago realized that money isn't a legacy, but doing something with it is. President Trump wanted his legacy to be to his grandchildren and to the grandchildren of the world, the next generation, that we will live in a country and in a world where there is not nuclear holocaust. That we're not nuking each other into oblivion and wiping each other off planet Earth. Mark Cuban is worth billions of dollars. What does that do for you if you're not doing for others? And Trump is getting these people together, regardless of background, because they share something bigger. I think it's fascinating. And the media were going nuts. Mr. Cuban, however could you work with President Trump? You called him a communist. And he's like, I'm not here to talk politics. I'm here to save Americans money. Boom. When we come back, speaking of money, what's $1.776 billion? Jamie Raskin says Trump's building his own militia with it. Trump is saying, no, we're going to pay back all of the January 6ers and others who lost everything because of a corrupt DOJ under Joe Biden. Next. That is good.
I love Trump RX.
I don't have a prescription. I don't have any prescriptions.
I like what Mark Cuban said, though, and that's goes along with the lines of saying this. I want this to be part of my legacy.
It's not about how you vote.
The more we sell, the lesser your cost is going to be. It's going to stay at 15%, but the volume is going to be nuts because Cost RX, if they have that drug, it is cheaper than getting it on Amazon or anywhere else.
They're building a better mousetrap, and it's a lot cheaper. Brock and I were talking about that. We were talking about artificial intelligence and how many different businesses are going to be impacted by human beings being carved out for this other AI kind of tool. And we were talking about and you brought it up. You're like, the assembly line that Henry Ford created, that took people out of business in other places. The assembly line did. Think about all of the changes in the innovations in technology. Going from one piece of technology to another, those jobs are lost and other people have to then go to it's very interesting to see the flux.
Think about it, going from carbon paper to computers, going from to the bank to cash your check to direct deposit and
100%.
Online banking.
I remember my dad every day would go to the bank to start his day for his business. He would go, he had deposits he had to make, he had things he had to send out, and that's how they banked, right? And now it's like, who goes to a bank anymore? I mean, I do, but very rarely. Very rarely. You're right. It just carves out. So you have to like embrace it and say, okay, how can I use this to then
how
take this
can
to the
I be
next level?
proficient? Because everyone else is afraid of it. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to see how I can use it to make me more valuable. If me knowing it makes me more valuable than the guy who doesn't, then so be it. I'll learn it. Everything changes. Radio changed with automation.
Right.
People like me got put out of jobs.
Yeah, people don't show up necessarily anymore. They can do their jobs from their home. It's all computerized.
Radio changed with hosts. That's why you hear Hannity on 600 stations, because it carved out the talk show host. It's just progress.
just like Uber changed the taxi business and Airbnb changed the hotel industry, I think Health Revolution is truly revolutionizing health insurance protection for you and your family, right? And so we talked about this. Cigna, a major health insurance carrier, they announced that next year they're not going to be in the Obamacare marketplace anymore. Just done. I'm not doing this anymore. And that's going to force thousands of individuals to find other kind of coverage. And if you're among them, or you're self-employed, or you're on COBRA, if you're under the age of 65 and you're reasonably healthy, if you have a family and you're just tired of spending so much for a plan that doesn't fit your needs, this is why you need to jot down info.healthrevolution.net. info.healthrevolution.net. Do it. Please do it, because it's only going to save you. It's only going to make your life better. Health insurance, the government doesn't control, but you do. No copayments, lower deductibles. You choose your doctor. And because of this plan, people are saving 30 to 60% on their health insurance. And to a lot of people, that's hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if not thousands a month. Info.healthrevolution.net, 800-868-6187. 800-868-6187. Info.healthrevolution.net. You can only benefit from this. You can only benefit. Find out. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, it's interesting, as the media only wanted to talk to Mark Cuban about how could you stand next to Trump and do something with him regarding prescription drugs, blah, 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 blah. They completely missed the entire story, the benefit for the people. This is your toxic, deranged left media, right? These are the same people who now have their unease in a bunch over President Trump's suggestion that there should be a $1.776 billion fund that we can compensate January 6ers and other people who were wrongfully targeted by Joe Biden's Department of Justice in an effort to get at President Trump. That in some capacity, these people can be made whole again. They lost their livelihoods. They lost their living and their savings defending themselves against a machine that was corrupt. And that's just a fact. We watched it. The January 6th defendants is like a 98% conviction rate. 98%. Some people were convicted and sentenced to prison who weren't even in Washington, D.C. that day. So chew on that for a minute. But I want you to hear this. The president apparently has triggered quite a few people, including Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin, who's just a turd sandwich anyway. But the congressman says President Trump aims to fund his own private militia with this $1.7 billion. I want to read this to you quickly. Representative Jamie Raskin said President Trump aims to fund his own private militia with $1.8 billion fund for his allies. The new fund, announced by the Justice Department Monday, is designed to compensate people who claim to have been targeted by former President Joe Biden's Justice Department and Democrats as victims of weaponization and lawfare. Democrats have slammed the move as taxpayer-backed slush fund. Well, that's freaking rich. What do you think welfare is? What do you think hospice fraud is? What do you think public education is? What's the freaking hearing aid garbage in California for kids? It's all a slush fund. And there's Jamie Raskin. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I want you to hear President Trump. He was asked this question from the media at this TrumpRx.gov, meeting or press conference with Mark Cuban. And somebody asks about the fund. And he very clearly and cogently expresses why he finds it to be necessary. Listen.
Horribly treated. It's anti-weaponization. They've been weaponized. They've been, in some cases, imprisoned wrongly. They paid legal fees that they didn't have. They've gone bankrupt. Their lives have been destroyed. And they turn out to be right. I mean, it was a terrible period of time in the history of our country, and they worked on it. I know the Justice Department, it's really been working on it very hard. There's been numerous other occasions over the years where things like this have been done, but these were people that were weaponized and really treated brutally by a system that was so corrupt, with corrupt people running it, and they're getting reimbursed for their legal fees and the other things that they had to suffer.
Right. And no amount of money will bring back the people we lost during that, people who committed suicide after that horrible chapter of life where they got ensnarled in some trap the Democrat members of Congress then lied under oath about. What a dark, dark stain on American history. This anti-weaponization fund, it's part of a settlement the president and the Justice Department reached, with Trump agreeing to drop his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS for leaking his tax returns. Trump had a damn good case. He had the details. He had it all. He had every single television network, every newspaper, every radio host who was gabbing about the president and his taxes, mocking him for what he made or what he lost. He had a damn good case. And he's like, you know what? I'll swallow it. For a fraction, a fifth of what I would be screwing you over for, I want that money to go to the people that were victims of this Department of Justice under Joe Biden. Mediaite is beyond itself. It's a very liberal rag. And this is what Jamie Raskin said. It's thoroughly illegal and unconstitutional. Of course, Congress never voted to set up a $1.7 billion political slush fund for the president. And we would never pass such a thing. So it's a complete violation of congressional appropriations powers. Moreover, even if Congress wanted to do such a thing, which we never would, it would be unconstitutional because the 14th Amendment says money cannot be spent out of the federal fisc for the purposes of repaying people for insurrection or rebellion against the United States. Yeah, about that, Jamie, about that. You don't think all of that stuff we know? You don't think all of that stuff, the 41,000 hours of cell phone video and closed camera networking there all around the Capitol complex, you don't think we know what's going on? What happened that day? Oh, Jamie. When we come back, stopping the steal is a pretty big deal, especially with Democrats being opposed to voter ID and all. How about the scam to pay the homeless on Skid Row to register to vote Democrat? Shocker. Next. And it wasn't just like a fly-by-night thing. It was this woman's business to get people on Skid Row, junkies, to give them a couple bucks. How many of them do you think registered more than once? How many do you think came back week after week to keep doing it? What, I can get a couple bucks? I can get a hit of whatever the hell? What do you think fentanyl costs on the street?
I like how we can't do that, but we can have a slush fund for
our
us
sexual
being
abuse.
sexual deviants. We can set up funds through USAID to have gender reassignment surgeries for criminals in jail, or what masturbation parties in Ghana. Shut up, Jamie.
He's just, his dad was a communist. He's a communist. These people are gross. How many of you would be surprised if like aliens popped out of some of these people that we know? Because apparently that's some of the scut, that there are aliens that look just like we do, that are here, that are.
If they're intelligent life form, they're definitely not coming out Democrats.
Wow.
So.
Wow. The Simkovich Concussion Institute, the changes I saw in my friend Diane, who had such terrible essential tremor, to see her be able to stand up straight and to not look like she was so tense, to keep her hands from trembling. She always kind of looked like she was just a little hunched over, and I want to like push her shoulders back and be like, it's okay. But she was so conscientious of hiding her hands. She would sit on them. She would hold them. She would hold things with two hands so she wouldn't spill. And when we said, I really want you to go to see Dr. Simkovich, she was probably a little doubtful, but she's like, at that point, no doctor had ever helped her before. She just figured she'd have to take a bunch of medicine and deal with the shakes her whole life. And they were very unnerving for her. And Dr. Simkovich saw her, and she went through all of the hoops with her PCP. She got an MRI, she got the blood test, all this stuff. And Dr. Simkovich was able to, factor out certain things. And then Diane went in, I think 3 or 4 days in a row. And Dr. Simkovich did what he does. He fixes people who have concussions, traumatic brain injuries, chronic headaches, and now apparently people with essential tremor, because Diane said that the first day she felt noticeably better, and that as she walked out, she was literally hopping with like joy. And by the end of the treatment, she's like, I feel 75% better. And her whole world has changed. She's changed, and maybe it's just not the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning anymore, or the last thing you think about before you go to bed. That's what Dr. Simkovich does. 412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. Simkovich Concussion Institute.com. It's one of those things that you're going to be like, what was she talking about? What's the name of that guy? Just write it down. You should just write it down and have our sponsors on a sheet and be like, aha, that's what it is. Because if you need them, you're going to be like, praise Jesus.
Think about it, what you were just saying. And the fact that when you go out, you don't have to think what other people think. What are the other people thinking?
I mean, I don't know if you could put a price tag on that, And it's not one of these things where you're like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. It's like, oh my gosh, I'll pay that right now.
I feel bad because the people around me, when I've had seizures, or people I care about, you, my brother, my sister-in-law, my wife, and you feel bad because you don't remember it, but you don't want them to have to see it. Like, you just feel bad, and I can't imagine going out and sitting there and thinking, what's this person that I'm meeting maybe for the first time going to think when they see me pick up a glass and I'm shaking?
Yeah,
I think I'm on drugs?
And what happens is you become a recluse. You can easily just not go out there and then you spiral. Like, if there's somebody who could unlock that mystery for you, and he's as lovely as Dr. Simkovich is, dang it. What are you waiting for? What is it? 412-366-3700. Love him.
I remember when he put his hands in my mouth. He's like, I'm like, well, he's like, you're going to die. And I'm like, what?
No, he's
like, I was just kidding.
He was able to touch a part on Brock's head that was tender, and he could tell as he was feeling that was tender. And Brock's like, yeah, it is actually. How'd you find that? Because it wasn't like, he knows what he's doing. This story is, I'm not really sure I can. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
But it's not.
But it's not.
You expect it.
I know. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Look, I don't believe that Democrats, by and large, wish to do good by anybody. I don't think they wish to do right by anyone. I don't think they care about you. I don't think they care about your parents. Well, COVID illustrated that, right? How many of the greatest generation do we lose? How many of our grandparents and our parents died alone and afraid in nursing homes, right? I know they don't care about our children. Just look at the whole public education nightmare. We got kids who can't read. We got parents who can't read. We are failing if we don't fix what has become so wrong, so broken. And look, the whole idea over the Save America Act, it's so elementary. It's so rudimentary, if you will, that something like 148 different countries all require proof of citizenship and of identification in order to cast a vote. It's not rocket science. This isn't some like thinking outside the box. Oh my gosh, it's so innovative. What wild thought processes. It's like, duh. And of course, why do they not want you to do that? Because they need to cheat. Why did the Democrats shield Ilhan Omar in the Minnesota House for having to show her documents regarding the Feeding Our Future stuff and all of her finances? Why would they shield her? Because obviously, sunlight, transparency is not what they're looking for. They need darkness. They need plausible deniability. They need to pretend that they're being victims and that Trump is weaponizing the DOJ against his enemies. No, we just kind of tired of people from other countries coming here, crapping on our country and then stealing from it and then lying to our faces and calling us racist when we say knock it off. And then how about you get on a plane and don't come back? Racist. No, that's realist. I work hard for my money, and so do you. I don't need Ilhan Omar sending it to the Somalians. She can hop on that plane. Bye-bye, right? This story, however, is maddening. It's disgusting. It's not even remotely surprising, but you need to know because the grift has been going on for a heck of a lot longer than you and I have been paying attention to it. New York Post headline, LA woman illegally paid homeless people to register to vote, including at her own address. What? Skid Row homeless folks? You're paying them to register to vote. How many times did they register to vote? That's what I want to know. A Marina Del Rey woman has agreed to plead guilty to bombshell charges that she paid homeless people on Skid Row to register to vote this is the part that's wild, in a 20-year scheme tied to illegal petition signature collection. Oh, you mean the stuff that people have been getting on video down on the streets? Oh, yeah, that stuff. This woman even let homeless people use her own address to register to vote, meaning mail-in ballots could be sent to her home, a plea agreement obtained by the California Post states. Brenda Lee Brown Armstrong, 64, also known as Annika, took a plea deal for one felony count of paying another person to register to vote in a federal election, prosecutors announced Monday. It's wild. Prosecutors allege Armstrong targeted Skid Row because of its desperate, large homeless population in a relatively small area who would easily accept the $2 or $3 that she made them to sign the petition. It's almost like now they're getting rewarded with free dentures, right? Karen Bass is like, well, taxpayers. It's like we can pay. Medi-Cal can cover the cost of all these meth heads who lost their teeth. We're going to get them new ones, right? Just sign here. Register to vote. Oh, by the way, we've got this ballot initiative coming up. Here's how it reads. Okay, so in the state of California, 16 and 17-year-olds, if you have sex with a 16 or a 17-year-old, that's considered a felony. It should be, right? Yeah, not in California because they voted it down. Well, they're almost adults. So, let's just make it a misdemeanor. I'm sure that's not a big deal. That's what it gets you when you're able to buy signatures on petitions and have phony voters. Do you guys think a lot of Skid Row people who don't have homes are getting their ballots and they're going dutifully to the polls? No, they want the $2 or $3 so they can go get some freaking meth under the bridge or some fentanyl. And this is what Spencer Pratt pointed out during his debate. Look, you can go and want to get folks underneath the bridge here under the Harbor Freeway, and we can go and try to round them up and get them in some facility where they can be housed. They're not looking for a house. They're looking for a hit, and they'll stab you in the neck to get it, period. 20 years this gal's been doing this. 20 years. Do you guys think that's a threat to democracy? Because I do. Because every single one of those junkies or homeless people is being used and manipulated. The same way children are being used and manipulated for that bogus hearing aid garbage. The same way newborn babies are being manipulated for the diaper program, right? The diapers that cost 8 cents each at Costco, but if you buy them through the government or the government gives them to you, it's 4 times, 5 times that. Gee whiz. However do they make their money? It's not... Honestly, it's not going out and doing something. It's by scamming, by stealing, by grifting, or like Nancy Pelosi, just making everybody vote for that CARES Act for $3.5 trillion. It'll be fabulous. Truly. What could go wrong? I don't know. Right? Right. So I want you to hear this guy. His name is Joe Gruters. Joe is the new RNC. He's the chair of the Republican National Committee. And he's talking basically about how the GOP as a party is locked and loaded. Like, he's like, we're not going to be caught on our heels anymore. Just because we're not registering dead people to vote, just because we're not getting meth heads and the homeless on Skid Row to register to vote and sign our petitions, it doesn't mean we need to be beaten any more than we've already been beaten by the theft. And so he's like, look, we have an army of people ready to go. And yeah, they're all attorneys. Say what? Listen to the new RNC chair.
Well, listen, the president, when he asked me to take this position, he said we got to make sure our elections are safe and secure. We have to continue to build on the success that Laura Trump and Michael Wiley built in the 2024 cycle. And yes, the Democrats are trying to cheat every single day. That's why we have to have 130 lawsuits. We're bringing the hammer wherever we can. 32 states where we have lawsuits because the Democrats are trying to cheat every single day. It doesn't matter if it's redistricting. It doesn't matter if what they've done is they've allowed tens of millions of illegals to come across our border, and they're trying to figure out ways to get them to vote. And that's why we're always after making sure we have integrity in the system, that we can have confidence in the democracy, and we're putting people in place. We already hired staff in 17 states, but we're going to continue our strong litigation effort to make sure we beat back these Democrats and their efforts that have been ongoing for decades in terms of trying to steal elections.
Back to Skid Row in LA, where this woman has pled guilty and is squawking now about this scheme. 20 years she's been paying people to vote, to sign petitions, fraudulently breaking the law. Where does the money come from? Where do you suppose? Act Blue? Where does it come from? You know who exposed it? James O'Keefe. you remember James O'Keefe from Project Veritas? Remember when James O'Keefe undercover exposed a lot of things at CNN, exposed a lot of things there, exposed a lot of things with Pfizer, with the vaccine, with the virus, with other things? It was James O'Keefe who got fired. He got booted from his own freaking company because when you're over the mark, you are a clear and present danger to the deep state. And they will stop at nothing to take you down. Period. And so he started his own O'Keefe Media Group, OMG. And it was his video on January 30th, 2026, where the 64-year-old woman Armstrong knowingly paid another person for the purpose of getting them to register to vote in federal elections. The payment ranged from money to cigarettes, phone cords, according to the plea agreement reviewed by the California Post. Armstrong worked for roughly 2 decades as a paid petition circulator, collecting signatures for California ballot initiatives, recalls, and referendums across the Los Angeles area, according to the Department of Justice. Prior to 2025, authorities say her name, she goes by Annika, expanded the operation by also paying individuals to complete voter registration forms. See, we all know this. We all know this. And the only defense they have for pushing back against the 83 to 85% of the American electorate who supports the Save America Act is to say that Black people can't do it. Black people can't get it done. Black people aren't smart enough. Black people are disenfranchised. Black people don't have driver's licenses. It's too much to ask for. Oh my God. It's so insulting. And there was a woman, and I forgot to grab it today, who stood up in front of the Cook County, Chicago, Illinois City Council and called them out for the ridiculosity of using race and racism as an excuse for what they're doing, as some kind of a shield to cover their fraud and their schemes. All the while pointing ever at Donald Trump and the Republican Party. Oh, they're racist. The Supreme Court wants to gerrymander the South. No. That's not it. Now you've got Ketanji Brown Jackson actively defecting from the, what's it called? The Supreme Court, actively speaking out as a jurist on the highest panel of justice in the land, squawking out about she's angry that everything isn't decided based on Black people and giving them extra, or using them as some whipping child to get whatever the Democrat Party wants. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Why does the USDA have to sue 29 Democrat states? Because those states don't want to provide them the voter rolls. Because if you have the voter rolls, then you know how many dead people are voting. Then you know how many people who don't exist are voting. Then you know how many people who don't exist or are dead are also getting welfare benefits. Please, stop me when I'm wrong. President Trump says something very basic. Paper ballot that has a watermark. The watermark cannot be duplicated because nobody gets to see it before Election Day. You vote on that ballot in person. If you need some kind of a waiver to vote by mail because you're a student or you're in the military or you're infirm, okay, we'll work around that. But that's not going to be an excuse, and that's not going to be the way we do it. These things are going to be tabulated by hand, and at the end of Election Day, we're going to know the results. I know. What a king. What a dictator. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, it's like I'm only getting started now, right? It's amazing what happens when you shut the door and you lock it. People stop coming. Do you guys hear about the border numbers? Oh my goodness. It's called Winning. Next on the Wendy Bell radio network.
Apparently, John Thune is upset.
Oh, good. John Thune needs to be voted out.
He's upset because he spent months trying to convince Trump to endorse John Cornyn.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
sorry, bro. Sorry,
John.
bro. Yeah.
Trump tried to convince you, as well as 83% of Americans, to pass
we
the
just
SAVE
don't have
Act.
the votes. I mean, like, I can't do it. It's just so hard. And so I wonder, are they just waiting until we get closer to the election, to the midterms?
So it can't be implemented.
Well, because the Senate just passed, they just approved something like 80 of President Trump's judicial and ambassador nominations. They just blanketed. They put 45 people together and they're like, and it passes. And we do
So
this.
you can
And
get things
so you
done.
can get things done. Thank you very much. You can get things done. You choose not to because you suck and you want us to believe that you don't. And so you come out with your folksy little Midwestern, little bit. No. John Thune,
We're
you're
not
a
going to do
loser.
anything to the parliamentarian who wasn't elected, but somehow dictates what we all want voted on.
All right. Tulip Blooms. I just got to cut a new radio commercial for Tulip Blooms, which is exciting because the Mother's Day sale has now passed, but that does not mean that you cannot find wonderful, luxurious essential oils, healing, massaging oils. Look, I'm not some big massage oil person. I'm not like, ooh, I love massage oil. I've never used it before. I've had massages and I've had masseuses use the oils on my skin, and it's very nice because they don't pull your skin when they're rubbing you. It's very glidey, right? So when Tulip Blooms was like, we're going to send you a new product. We haven't even really put it out yet. And I fell in love with it. This one, I was like, and here's why. Here's why. I get very dry cuticles and I dislike the look and the feel, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way it goes, right? And I rubbed 1 squirt of the velour massaging oil into my hands. And I'm going to tell you, this is what's cool about it. You do it in the morning, and then throughout the course of the day, you go to the bathroom and wash your hands. Your fingers and your cuticles are still nourished after that. It's like it deeply penetrates in, and it softens and plumps up the dry stuff, and all of a sudden makes you feel like your skin is $1,000,000. And I'm going to tell you, after going out in the sun, if you're out in the sun at all coming up in it's Memorial Day weekend, if you have Tulip Blooms, put it on your skin after being in the sun. It is something special. And of course, there's a discount when you drop my name, tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. This is the stuff I use. I use their soothing gel cleanser. I use their castor oil all over my chest and my belly and my back. You should read about the castor oil. And then there's the velour massaging oil, which I use every single day. And I've been talking to you guys about it for what, 2.5 months? So $60, $65 for this. And you're like, that's kind of expensive. And I'm like, I agree with you. No, it's not. It lasts forever. Fantastic stuff. Treat your skin, treat yourself. And by the way, men like it too.
I do.
I'm going to talk to Tulip Blooms about doing a special Father's Day sale. Let's get some stuff for dads. Let's get some stuff for men.
Yeah.
Yeah, what she said.
Yeah.
At any time, but it just seems sacrilegious. We shouldn't do that, right? Loving America, love making America great again. So I just saw this morning, and it's sort of like the generic drugs. It's sort of like what Trump is doing with Mark Cuban. It's seeing a problem and fixing it. Well, that can't be fixed. It's never been fixed before. It can't be done. Nobody knows how. He's like, well, why? Why can't we fix it? Fix it. There's a problem. Fix it. And it gets fixed. Like the border. Joe Biden was like, it takes an act of Congress to close the border. No, it involves Joe Biden being mentally in the frame of mind to actually be the commander in chief, if you believe he ever was. And he's like, I can't stop what's going on at the border. I don't even think the dude knew. Do you guys really think Joe Biden knew what was really going on? Do you think he was like deeply involved in his phone and he's like, I'm going to check all the headlines, see what people... No, dude was in his chamber. He was on a beach. He was gone 40% of the time. And he was here. He wasn't even here. Right? Deep state opened that Biden's auto pen. It's such a shame what they did to our country. Newly released Trump border numbers further expose the full scale of Joe Biden's border crisis. I want to hear this. In April 2026, U.S. Customs and Border Protection recorded 8,943 apprehensions for the entire month. In December 2023, at the peak of Joe Biden's open borders disaster, agents were logging 336 illegal crossings every single hour. At that rate, Biden's Border Patrol was processing the same number in just over a day that President Trump's agents processed in all of April. That's not a policy difference. That's a different country. The Department of Homeland Security Friday said that the U.S. Border Patrol has now gone a full year, 12 straight months, without releasing a single illegal immigrant into the United States, while illegal crossings have collapsed to levels not seen since the early 1990s. Let's chew on this bit of masterpiece theater. Okay, ready? We've got a lot of people coming in. How are they coming in? Well, an open border. Close the border. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. That's what happened. Trump's like, close it, build the wall. They mocked him, remember? Build that wall, build that wall. If they hadn't stolen 2020, if that whole chapter of suck hadn't happened, how many people would still be alive today who have been murdered, killed in accidents, tortured, raped? How many of those people would still be alive today? It totally never needed to happen. And I'm sorry, it's like the president's $1.7 billion fund to try to make whole again, at least in some fiscal way, the January 6ers who were so unfairly treated. Money isn't going to fix that. Money isn't going to fix it. Bring back Roseanne Boyland. And if you don't know who she is, you need to find out. Border Patrol recorded 8,943 Southwest border apprehensions in April of this year, a 94% drop from the Biden era monthly averages, 96% below the December 2023 peak. At Biden's December 2023 pace, agents were processing the same number in roughly 27 hours that Trump's Border Patrol apprehended in all of April. And remember, we're sort of like Xavier Becerra saying, get the migrant kids who came across the border by themselves. We got to process these people fast, like Henry Ford's assembly line. Get them out to sponsors wherever they need to go. Get rid of them. Joe Biden's whatever, Department of Homeland Security and Border Patrol. They took air marshals out of the airplanes, right? And they put them on the border to process peanut butter and jelly sandwiches so the people could come through more quickly. Right? So again, I'll put it out there to the Democrats paying attention. Why? Why do you vote for people who hate you? Why do you vote for people who want to hurt you? Why do you vote for people who steal from you and then who tell you, no, we didn't do it? I don't get it. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell Radio program on tap. Kind of amazing. Screening student loan applications for fraud. I mean, like, wait for it. It actually works. It stops the fraud. What? The breaking news next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Anybody else feeling toasty? Really? Really? How exciting. Really slow numbers for Rumble today. 4.2. Weird. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. I'll take every single one of you. I love spending time with you. And I love waking up in the morning and finding stuff that we can chat about. So thank you for being a part of my life. You make it so much fun.
Until our internet goes up.
Oh my God.
And then we all get angry texts.
What are you talking about? Who gets angry texts? No. Oh my God. I send you an angry text?
Well, not angry, just a frustrated text.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. It's 1,000.
Is that better? It's nice in here.
Oh, I'm sure it's nice in here too. Just not according to my body temperature. I am en fuego. Oh, look at that little tie in the title today. She's so crafty. I know. All right, hold on.
Oh, here comes the don't put your hair up, people.
Oh, whatever. They're not hot. I am. Steamy over here, y'all. Okay. All right, let's see what else is going on. Oops. Oop, that wasn't shut. That sucks.
Oh, what'd you spill?
No, I have my binder.
Too close again?
Hmm?
Is it too close again? It'd catch on fire?
No.
It's not in fuego.
No, it's not in fuego. That's the good news. Okay, blood flow 7. Do you have it in there? Yeah, hold it up. So
the triple X.
Our contact with Juvenon, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. She sent me that, 2 of them. So I gave one to Brock and I took one.
I had asked for it.
Really? Because you've talked to her before.
Okay.
Anyway. So she sends me that instead of my Blood Flow 7, which I take every single day. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I'm just going to tell you. Why wouldn't you? Stamina, strength, focus, longevity, all of it. You can lift more. You can walk farther. You can do things that you didn't think you could do. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. It's nitric oxide, makes more blood flow because it opens up your blood vessels, right? She sends us that. The triple X, whatever, which is also 30% off at bloodflow7.com. These supplements are so affordable. I think this is like $30 for a month. It's like nothing. Okay. So I try that and I'm reading the directions this morning, which is big for me. I usually don't. And it's like, take 6 capsules 30 minutes before your workout. And I was like, Shazam, 6 capsules. That's kind of ferocious. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a whirl. Oh my.
You throw the weights through the ceiling.
She picked up on it immediately, and then starts changing the weights around. I'm like, yo, just because I'm not struggling doesn't mean I need you to ratchet it up a next bar. And she's like, well, we'll go from the leg extension and the leg curl. I normally do 90. She's like, here's 100 pounds. And I'm like, what? And then she's like, well, we're not going to do 2 sets. We're going to do 3. And so it's like here to here to here to here to here to here, and then get on the bike and run. Okay, do here to here to here. Do it 3 times. And then
you love the bike.
Hate that damn bike. But now I don't mind the bike. The Airdyne. I look like Ben Roethlisberger on the sideline. Right? And I'd be like, this sucks. And now I'm like, I'll take that damn bike. Let's go.
You were sweaty when you came home today.
I was. Brock and I get on the stream just like this.
I did not mention it because of said frustrations.
You were noticing that I was like, I think I was out of breath too. Like I walked in and I was like, I'm just telling you, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. It has changed me. And the people who also take it, some people see results in 48 hours. Some people need 2 weeks. Stick with it. And then let me know. WendyBellRadio@gmail.com. Okay. That's my jam. 100% my jam. Okay. Let's see how your Rumbles are. We just need to get to 2.5. We were number 8 on the leaderboard yesterday. I'm delighted to be on the leaderboard. It's been a struggle, but we're delighted. And it's going to probably get harder because people go on vacation and all of that. But we will be here. I will be here thick and thin. I remember when we had 500 people. I remember when we had 50 people. We're like, 50 people watching us.
Yeah, what us? They were just watching you. It was like, wow, there's 50 people watching.
Who wouldn't want to watch me? I mean, like, right? Right.
Well, no one else was.
No, it's true.
Who thinks to listen to?
I agree.
Facebook, because that's where it started. When they're listening to a radio show,
some woman wrote me through the website, and she's like, "I am so disgusted by the things that you're putting out on your Facebook page." And I'm like, "Well, I haven't looked at it in a couple years. So
we have no access."
I'm like, "I've been hacked out of it, and Meta doesn't want me to get back in. So go riddle me that."
Yeah.
And apparently, the content has been particularly lewd lately. So I apologize.
Ain't us.
It's not me. I'm not doing it. So grody. I just had to like tune out of that one because I'm like, no thanks. Okay.
I have your elbow problem.
You have elbow cancer.
Yeah.
Tennis elbow. I get that from time to time. It's very painful, very tender. And you're like, ow. But I get it when I'm sleeping. How do you hurt yourself sleeping? Because I must do this.
You're getting older.
Now with my bloodflow7.com, let's go. Drop it on me.
Heading into Earth's atmosphere in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are picking up sounds of intelligent life. We have connected with the Wendy Bell radio program. Greeting. We come from another dimension looking for intelligent life. We have found it. We have traveled millions of miles to find truth and common sense. We have found it and have set our transmitters to the Wendy Bell radio program. The Wendy Bell radio program will now be the voice of interstellar travel.
3 hours of gold, truth, and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. Now, if you were here for the very beginning of the show 2 hours ago, I had an opening monologue where I got kind of fussy about Nancy Pelosi. And I said, when I imagine what the deep state, if it had a face, it would be her face. Because I think she has wreaked so much havoc on this country and has done generational harm. And I specifically brought up her years as Speaker of the House during COVID, when Democrats pushed through $4 trillion of spending because of COVID. $4 trillion. Now, what we don't know, and certainly it's coming out now, is that Democrats during COVID-19 changed key verification safeguards on programs. Oh, well, people are at home. They can't possibly. It's like how Black people can't possibly get a driver's license, right? Or an ID. It's beyond the pale. I mean, we got to be realistic about what we're doing. They used COVID and the fear mongering to do exactly what Ilhan Omar did. We're going to reduce the guide rails. We're going to lower the standards. We're going to get rid of oversight because we need the fraud. Because we're going to do something that steals from the American people, and we need cover while we do that. Now, that's not me saying that. Democrats during COVID-19 changed key verification safeguards and required less than 1% of students. We're talking about students going to college, right? less than 1% of students were required to verify their identities after they submitted their FAFSA. That's the free application for federal student aid. Everybody's got to fill it out, whether you're going to qualify for student aid or you're not. Every kid who wants to go to college or a university's got to fill out this thing. So if you're applying for aid and the government doesn't require you to prove who you are, do you guys think that's a problem? Because I'm going to go with, yeah, that's a problem. It's kind of like not passing the Save America Act, which would require, what again was that? Oh, that's right. You to prove that you are who you say you are and to prove that you are an American citizen. All these things changed during COVID. It's like Rahm Emanuel's face is in my head. Never let a crisis go to waste. They didn't. They maximized COVID for every single thing that it was worth. They beat that piñata to a pulp, and we're still paying the price. So I found this story, and I think it's astonishing. And it has to do with Linda McMahon. Linda McMahon, the Secretary of the Department of Education. Trump administration says it blocked $60 million in fraudulent student loan applications simply by having a screening tool. A screening tool. Simply like if the NIH, the CDC, the FDA, if any of those people during COVID had used the right algorithm regarding the vaccine, the jab, it would have identified all of these side effects. Myocarditis, pericarditis, all of these problems well before the government forced it on everybody. But they changed it. They changed the rules. They changed the algorithm. And this Department of Education is changing it back. This is very exciting. The Trump administration has intercepted roughly $60 million in fraudulent student loan applications since deploying a new risk assessment tool last month. $60 million in just a matter of weeks. You can think to yourself, you're like, man, that's not really a whole lot of money. That's a lot of money. The Department of Education launched the tool on April 26 to screen federal student aid applicants for fraud. And since the launch, administration officials say approximately, this is staggering. This is like the woman for 20 years paying Skid Row junkies and the homeless to sign voter registration forms and sign petitions of Democrats suck. Since April 26, approximately 300,000 fraudulent applications totaling $60 million in student loans have been flagged. 300,000. Anybody out there the parent of college-age kids? I am. I had 2 who graduated, 1 in right now, and 2 more in the pipeline. Next year, we have 3 college kids. Let me tell you, it's not affordable. What happened to the cost of education? All the grants, all the things that the government tries to put money in, all of the things that we're doing, the student loans, everything cranks up the cost of education. So everybody pays more. Who's making out? Where is the money going? Linda McMahon said, look, we're using the best-in-class technology. We've been able to stop a lot of these fraudulent activities that are there. How long have we been getting ripped off? Years and years and years and years. They described the initiative as the largest and most comprehensive nationwide fraud prevention effort in the agency's history. Fraud detection is now built directly into the free application for federal student aid, FAFSA, with every applicant evaluated in real time using risk-based identity screening. What's going to happen? The department estimates its efforts to identify and deny aid to fraudulent applicants will save taxpayers more than $1 billion during this year's FAFSA cycle. $1 billion. Linda McMahon said the tool will stop fraud at the start of the process before the money goes out the door. Now, if you consider this, a reasonable federal estimate is about $120 billion to $140 billion of federal money, our taxpayer money, goes to these colleges and universities that you and I don't get to vote on. We don't get to decide, but 120 to 140 billion dollars of our money every year goes to these schools, depending on what you count as subsidies. Most of that is in student aid rather than direct cash to colleges. Pell grants, they're about 30 billion a year. Federal student loans, about 100 billion a year. Direct grants to colleges and universities, about $2.5 billion a year. And what do? They saddle students with hundreds of thousands of debt. Hundreds of thousands of debt. And Brock, you've said this, right? You do not, if you die or whatever, it's not
You
like
cannot get away. I think death is the only way you can get away from it. If you file for bankruptcy or anything like that, it stays with you. You cannot get rid of it.
And so the Trump administration has imposed new federal borrowing limits for higher education loans, especially for graduate, professional, and parent plus borrowing, whatever that means. Starting this July, graduate students are capped at $20,500 a year. That's all you can get for a total of $100,000 total, right? Professional students get capped at $50,000 a year, about $200,000 total, and parent plus loans at $20,000 a year and $65,000 total per dependent student. Why? Because kids are bankrupting themselves before they even go to college, and there's no way for them to pay it off. And where does the money go? Who's getting rich? Well, it's not the students. Where is all the money? The costs keep going up. Well, if you remember, one of the most influential economists of the 20th century, Milton Friedman, he told us 50 years ago, I think this clip you're about to hear is from 1977. He said 50 years ago that government subsidies like grants and student loans for colleges are nothing but a complete and total scam.
A study in the state of California some years back showed that 50% of the students at the state universities of higher education came from the top 25% of the income scale, and 5% came from the bottom 25%. What's true there is true everywhere. There is no social program in this country, in my opinion, which is so clearly a case of imposing taxes on low-income groups to benefit high-income groups as government subsidies to higher education.
Right? And now this. More than a quarter of private colleges are at risk of closing, new projections show. How is that even possible? Well, more than a dozen newborn, there's an example here that's not particularly germane to this situation. But I'm reading some of these reports that show us the colleges are losing money hand over fist. Over 40% of U.S. private colleges and many regional public universities are facing severe financial distress, with over 30% of private nonprofits reporting operating losses in 2024. Smaller rural and private institutions are particularly vulnerable to shrinking enrollment and high tuition discounts, placing hundreds of them at risk of closing or merging in the next decade. It is a giant grift. Where does the money go? Who funds this? You do. You and I do. Whether or not you have kids in college, your taxes pay for these benefits or for these subsidies, yes? And then what happens? The college student, before they even have a clue in the world what they want to do, is burdened by six-figure debt. And we wonder why Gen Z is like, I can't afford a house. Are you kidding me? I've got student loans. When we get back on the Wendy Bell radio program, New York City did something well. They did something right. It's crazy. And they did it right in their public schools. What could it possibly be? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I think some of these schools need to close. You know? How is it possible that some of these schools have billion-dollar endowments and they get subsidies from the government? They take your money, they give them to the schools, right? And then what happens? And then students have to borrow money to go to those schools, and tuition keeps going up and up and up. Do you mean to tell me that a degree at Syracuse University is worth $80,000 a year? Syracuse.
Well, think about it.
What?
Costs go up, enrollment goes down. What happens? I have a visceral response to this, because it's you get out of college, and I want to say $135,000 worth of debt 20 years ago, 25 years ago. You can't get away from it. Like, you want to get a car, that's on top of that. You want rent, that's on top of that. You're paying as much for a student loan payment.
And what are you getting out of that job? Like, literally, if you look back on the education that you got.
It took me 2 years in journalism, working in radio, to make what I paid a year for college. So I always said, let the private lenders do it, because they're going to go like this. Okay, you want a journalism degree. Well, our records show that coming out, and the average thing for someone, what you want to do is $35,000. You say you want $50,000 a year to get this $35,000. We will not throw good money at bad money, and that is a bad investment. Your basket weaving degree isn't worth $65,000. Your liberal arts degree isn't worth $60,000.
100%.
Banks would not tolerate it. Just like when you want to buy a house, they don't care what they put it on the market for. We're going to give you enough to pay for what we think we're going to get out of it. Make it that student loans.
Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. You're going to look at your house this summer, and you're going to look at it and say, it looks tired. We've lived here for 20 or 30 years. What can we do? Do we need a new roof? Do we need some new windows? What if we put siding on one or two sides of the house? What if we did something that was really cool? What if we put in some skylights? What if we got new soffit and fascia, some new downspouts, gutters? I know it's sexy. It's necessary if you don't want to flood your house. Ireland Contracting. If you live in Southwestern land before time, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. IrelandContracting.com. I love these people. I care about these people. They are friends of mine. They just did a great job giving Joe and me and our sons 8 new skylights and a big, beautiful new roof. And I'm grateful. They were there for 3.5 days, maybe 4 days, because of 1.5 day of lousy weather. And to watch these guys throw off all the old shingles and the tarp and the bull crap underneath it and put down the new stuff, it's pretty remarkable. It's pretty remarkable to watch what they do. And they pick up everything. I didn't find a nail. I didn't find anything in the yard. IrelandContracting.com, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. I love them. They're great. Nobody wants to have a new roof, but when you need it, you need it. And you need it now, and you can trust them. They won't lie to you. Oh, they've got JD Vance taking questions now for for every young parent out there whose inclination to quiet a fussy toddler at the grocery store is to hand them their phone, please resist the temptation. The longer you can keep that out of the hands of a child, the better you are, the better they are. Can I just tell you, from one parent to another, please think about it. Did you guys hear what happened in New York City in the public schools there? New York Post headline, New York City teachers say phone ban in classrooms has caused, quote, jaw-dropping change in students' attention. I know, shocker. What? We're not going to go like this on our phone all day, and instead we're going to be forced to have conversations with people. I love these doomsday stories about how this younger generation, they're just so depressed. They're so distant. They don't know how to communicate. It's so complicated. No, see, put the phone away. Put the phone away. I'm as guilty as the next person. Put the phone away. Talk to people. Go outside, see the world. It's so much better than whatever the hell you're looking at on your screen, as evidenced by the New York City schools. May 15th marks 1 year since Governor Kathy Hochul enacted a bell-to-bell ban on personal phones in public schools, impacting almost 1 million children in K-12 public and charter schools across the state. I agree with her. 100%. Good job, Kath. Teachers who spoke to the Post all say the ban has had an overwhelmingly positive impact on their schools. I think that the cell phone ban has been remarkable. Dr. Jessica Chalk Goldman, director of clinical services at Bard High School, Early College of Manhattan on the Lower East Side, told the Post, "I've been astounded by how much of a shift it has been. Kids actually talk to each other in school." I know. It's so crazy how that happens, isn't it? They sit in the hallway, they engage, they laugh, they study, they play games. It's one of the easiest things to do with a child is to give a device to parent them so you don't have to. It's another thing. When kids are allowed to have the stupid phones in school, then they're not interacting. They're not growing. They're not doing what they're there to do. She says, "I actually saw a card game in the hall recently, which was jaw-dropping. I've been working in schools now for 12 years, and I have never seen that." Remember the good old days where you could walk into a restaurant with your family and you had little kids and you could have a placemat or something that was, a coloring thing, and they gave them a little pack of crayons or what have you, and your kids would sit there and they would color and they'd be happy. Now I go to a restaurant, Joe and I every now and again will go Morton's for a nice piece of meat, and there'll be some big family there and a kid with a set of headsets on watching a movie. And I want to be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" "Oh, well, they're on the spectrum." But they're probably on the spectrum because they're on the freaking device, right? As the school year comes to a close, teachers in New York City tell the Post that their students appear totally transformed. Before the ban, eighth grade social studies teacher Michael Simon said it felt like you could be in a classroom with 25 students and still feel that you're by yourself. But without the constant distraction of devices, he reports, kids are finally present again. Students used to get a vibration on their phone, or they try to hide their phone and check it. They no longer have that luxury. So now they're focused on the lesson, on the assignment, on the task. In 11 years of teaching, he also says he's never seen kids so locked in to their learning as they have been this year. They tell me that the work has become easier, that it's easier for them to focus. Simmons says, who works at the IN-Tech Academy in the Bronx, whatever that is, he says it's cut down on bathroom breaks, it's cutting down on a lot of the chatter in the classroom. But it's not just the classroom. When he walks by the cafeteria during lunch, it's now full of energy. They're talking with each other instead of just looking down at their phone. Literally, the phone, it's like a drug, right? It's addictive. You get in that world. I watch my kids do it. One of my boys in particular, I'm like, "Dude, put it down. 24/7, it's right here. Like, go outside." They're talking with each other instead of just looking down at their phones. And now they have to communicate. They have to socialize. They have to talk. They have to find out how their day is going. What's going on? What class do you have next? Did you do last night's homework? Similar reports from Bard High School Early College. People there noticing more students talking about plans. Many more students are socializing together on the weekends because kids are engaging all day long. During the school week, they're able to develop deeper relationships, meaningful friendships, and therefore, I think they have far more desire to socialize outside of school. 100%. Like, if you don't know how to look at each other, how to communicate, how to solve problems, how to laugh, how to have fun, how to tell jokes, how to play games, how to cooperate, like, what are we doing? I say it all the time. Of all the things I wish we could get rid of, it's this stupid phone. If we could chuck it and have never invented it, I think we would be a much happier people. You wouldn't work 24 hours a day. You wouldn't be tethered to your job. You'd be off the clock and you'd be present where you need to be. And if you're a parent, that's at home. And if you're a student, that's at school. I don't give Democrats certainly any praise, but that was a good idea. It was a common sense idea. Good job, New York City. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, this UFO stuff, it's getting crazy. You ready to be crazy? A little bit? Don't be doubting. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. This is always my favorite segment. There's a lot to talk about. Tulip blooms. Mm-mm. Oh, that's right. This is one. So I heard from a viewer, a listener yesterday, that she got the GLP-1 Gold from Juvenon because I talk about bloodflow7.com/Wendy all of the time. And I'm like, this is a game changer for me. It's going to be a game changer for you. And oh yeah, by the way, while you're at the website, if you've got significant weight to lose and it's not happening for you right now and you need a little bit of help, but you're totally wary of the shots and all that jazz, you don't want a medical intervention. You just need a nudge. How about a nudge? Consider GLP-1 Gold from Juvenon that nudge. This is a dietary supplement that has your brain and your gut communicating again. You know, I think sometimes the people who are extraordinarily obese, I think there's probably a disconnect going on there because I can only eat so much before I can burst at the seams. And there's a reason you're able to continue getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think it's because this communication, this hormone between your brain and your gut, it's not working. And so you keep eating and you keep eating and you're never signaled you're full. That's enough. Ease away. That's what this does. This helps that hormone, GLP-1, fire on all cylinders inside of your body. And so what you notice is you're less distracted by cravings. You are less hungry. You're less apt to put something in your mouth. And so you can skip a meal. You can skip what you normally do. GLP-1 Gold. And this is not like pharmaceutical stuff. This is stuff that Juvenon knows. This is their number one weight loss thing. And this is for people who have significant weight to lose. And we had somebody say it took 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks for her to start noticing, I'm not hungry, I'm not eating. And then all of a sudden she's like, my pants are looser. I can see it in my reflection. I don't really care what the scale says. I care about how I feel and how my clothing fits. And she's like, it's working for me now. Thank you, Wendy. GLP-1 Gold, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. I'm going to go on there and I'm going to tell you how much it costs because it's crazy. Let's see. Yes, and an extra 30% off with the promo code Wendy30. So, let's see. Bloodflow 7. This for us, I'm going to add it to my cart and make sure that this is including the discount. Yeah. With our discount, oh my gosh, they also throw, because I'm a subscriber, I saved $23.60.
Wow.
$23.60. All right, let's see about another one. I'm going to see what the, no, I don't want to do that. Let's go down to, they've got also, okay, GLP-1 Gold. I'm going to click on that. So that is regularly $64.95. It's marked down right now because I'm literally on it. And it says it's $48.71. I'm going to add it to the cart and I'm going to go to checkout. And it takes it down to $34.10. $34.10. They're taking off.
Wait, for the GLP-1?
Yes.
Not the blood.
That's $23. This is like Trump RX for this time. $34.10. Yeah. So apparently with the Wendy 30 and they gave me 25% off both. So I'm saving 55%. You guys, bloodflow7.com, get the GLP-1 Gold. In fact, at this cost, get a couple of them and give it a full 2-month cycle. And see, you're going to spend $1 a day. That's what that is. That's $1 a day.
And then hop back over and rumble.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm telling you, they're a total game changer. And they have my picture all over this because I'm like, I said, Bloodflow 7 is a must-have. I can't say enough about it. I don't go a single day without it. Highly recommend. Wendy Bell. 100%. I'm glad I don't lie to you guys. All right, so are you ready, Brock? When I sent you this clip, what did you think?
Wait, what clip?
The
Oh. I believe my response was WTF.
I can't believe how great that price is. I'm kind of flabbergasted. Like, why wouldn't you go there and buy it? It's crazy. It's so cheap and it works. And that triple, I got to see what the triple costs. Here, I have time. Hold on. All right, let's go. All right. So that is the triple XL that I took 3 times strength formula for a full body blood flow. Let's see, $59.96 with my discount. And then they jot it down. So they'll maximize your benefits and they'll drop the price more. Let's see. That's $41, $42 for that. That's nuts. That's nuts. See, it helps to be friends with us. At least that's on my story. I'm going to stick that bit. See what's new on the alien front. Some of you are totally falling for this, but drop of whatever the government's going to allow us to know about the UFO files. I keep thinking back to that Will Smith movie with Tommy Lee Jones, Men in Black. You know, where it looks like somebody normal and then somebody, you know, some alien bursts out of the shell of the skin of somebody and it's like, and you're like, ah. It kind of feels like that's what's kind of going on. And it's weird. It's super weird. And I have to be really honest. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe. But apparently President Trump is going to drop here sooner rather than later. These files. He's going to have some kind of a statement. He's going to have some kind of a release of more of these files because I think enough people have talked about it for enough time and there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. Do I know anything definitive? No. Do any of these conversations take us back to any kind of clarity about why so many missing scientists and murdered researchers? And do they really believe that we're going to fall for, it's just some big coincidence, you know, that some top major general in the military, some researcher guy with top secret clearance leaves his glasses, right? His glasses and his wallet and his keys behind and his phone, but takes a gun with him and then disappears on a walk outside of his house. Like that doesn't make sense to me, right? There's something else going on. Are these people being abducted? Are they being captured so they don't say stuff? Are they needed because of their knowledge of technology? I have no idea. I just know that we're not getting anywhere with that. And that makes me curious. So this is where we're moving the alien files. Representative Tim Burchett, he said what we thought was going on. There are some powerful forces out there that sure do not want us to know what they have been up to because, you know, they've been lying to us about it for about 80 years. Here's Tim Burchett.
Tell me all about the UFOs and the aliens.
Well, the problem we have right now is the deep state's fighting the president on releasing. He kept his word. And I suspect some of our not so friendly comrades in some of our alphabet agencies are slow walking a lot of the information. It's about power, it's about control, and that's kind of what runs Washington.
All right. What do you think is in these files, and why do you think they're not trying to release any of them? Like they're partial release.
Part of it's going to be that they're going to have to admit that they've been lying to us all these years, and there could be some cover up of zero energy.
There could be cover up of human alien breeding programs. Like when Matt Gaetz brought that stuff up and we were all like, what? It's one thing to wrap your mind around there's a flying saucer or something that has crashed into the earth and that the military or what have you captured there's some kind of an alien creature inside. That in and of itself is like, what? But then you start hearing some of this other stuff. How many different kinds of aliens there are? Well, there's 4 main types. I don't know if that's the case, but that's what's being kicked around right now. And this is the stuff that floats out there before the president makes any kind of a statement, because his objective is to not screw the people over, not to lie to people, but also not to cause pandemonium or any kind of panic. So he's got that weird tightrope that he has to constantly walk. Jesse Waters last night, he's like, look, people who have not been lying to us for years say, as we've reported on this program, that there are these 4 different types of aliens that have been recovered from these crash sites in and around where we live. And this is what they say.
UFO experts and top researchers have been investigating aliens for years. Their sources say dozens of crashed UFOs have been recovered, and what they found inside, shocking.
And do people think that there's one type of non-human intelligence that's visiting the Earth, or is there many, many types?
People who have been involved in recoveries have said
there are at least 4 types, 4 separate types. Now, I have not had direct access to that, but I believe the people who I talked to.
4 different types of life.
4 different types of life.
4 different species of aliens. Another scientist called them Greys, Nordics, Insectoids, and reptilians. All of them have 2 arms and 2 legs, just like us. Experts speculate the reptilians are scaly with long tails, like a lizard. Insectoids look like a praying mantis. The Greys look like your classic movie alien, and the Nordics look like a regular Swedish guy, but 7 feet tall. We haven't seen the evidence, but Pete Hegseth says more evidence is coming.
Okay, so the Greys that he's talking about, what's that? Well, that's kind of what you would imagine in your mind about what an alien would look like. Very big head, no ears, 2 little spots for a nose and like a slit, if even a mouth. Giant eyes, just a big oversized head, gray in appearance and short, like 4 feet tall. I can't believe I'm talking with any kind of clarity because I have no idea. I'm the first to tell you, no idea. Well, this was interesting because filmmaker Timothy Alberino, who's known for his work on UFOs and aliens, kind of opens the door to some pretty wild stuff that's hard to wrap your mind around. And he talks about this particular book. It's called Walking Among Us. Came out in 2016. And the author of this book, Walking Among Us, is named David Jacobs. He's an historian, a retired Temple University history professor. He became known for his UFO and alien abduction research. He says that aliens are creating human-like hybrids, and they're quietly integrating them into everyday society. And he argues in his book that these hybrids are being trained by abductees. Abductees, people on the caravans, people who just vanish in our society, and they're being trained to blend into society with the larger goal of a long-term alien plan to take control of the earth. Whether or not that's something you believe, I want you to hear this audio soundbite from filmmaker Timothy Alberino because it's just freaking wild.
The Greys appear to be engineering a human alien hybrid species that is indistinguishable from us, but is not us. A species that, for all intents and purposes, looks just like us, but they retain the telepathic capabilities of the Greys. They can control us, in other words. And one of the most frightening things about, one of the most alarming things about Jacob's final book, Walking Among Us, is he documents the latest thing that the abductees were telling him from their abduction episodes. In that, he called this personal project hybrids. Are you familiar with that? The personal
No.
project hybrid. So he described this as personal project hybrids because the Greys have been trying to perfect a hybrid, and this progression is evident in the abduction material, because in the beginning, abductees were encountering hybrids that were very imperfect. Their heads were too big, their hair was scraggly, their eyes were too big. They kind of look human, but they look too much like the Greys. They were too short. And as the years progressed, so did the program. And you were getting more refined hybrids that looked more and more like us until lately, or at least when Jacobs published his book, was it 2016, somewhere around there? He was reporting these advanced human alien hybrids that he calls hybrids. And they're so advanced that, as I said before, they're indistinguishable from us, but they retain the telepathic capabilities of the Greys, and they're completely loyal. Their allegiance is to the Greys, not to human beings.
Right? I have no idea. We're talking about some breeding program. We're talking about people just being abducted and vanishing, and nobody knows where they go, and nobody talks about it. And you're like, there's no way that happens. And then you realize that they stole an election in 2020 and had hundreds of thousands of people working in concert to make that happen. You don't think that they could get enough people not to talk about this? I do. This is where I just got gobsmacked. CNN is now covering this. Neil deGrasse Tyson on with Dana Bash. She's like, do you think the American people are finally ready for the truth? Listen.
The real question is not, are we alone? It's, are we ready? Are we?
Yeah, I think we are, actually, because given the testimonies that we've heard given and that we heard delivered in front of Congress in 2023, 2024, 2025, from whistleblowers and insiders and military officials, ex-military, ex-intelligence officers, it's no longer just the farmer in the back 40, right, commenting on what hovered over their crops, or the revelers coming out of the bar at 2 a.m. So these are people of high rank and all sincere. And so not only have they sort of said that they've got alien body parts and reverse engineered technologies, that's sort of consistent with the files that were released. So I'm fine. If that's where we are, all I'm going to ask is, where's the alien?
So that's my question to you.
Is it too much to ask that if you've got him in the back shed, just bring out the alien? Then we would all transition from asking one another, do you believe in aliens, to, well, yeah, of course, the alien's there.
Well, you
right?
wrote the book.
People don't say, do you believe
You wrote the book. You're an astrophysicist. What do you think? Are they here, or have they been among us?
Whatever are the claims, I'm saying, let's assume they're all true. But just start with that assumption. If it's all true, they ought to be able to bring out the alien.
Got it.
And that hasn't happened yet. So I'm just sitting on the couch waiting patiently.
Isn't it so wild that nobody will definitively come out and say anything? It's like everybody's waiting for something to happen first before they're like, oh, thank God, the seal's been broken. Now I can tell you what I know. It's like you're dancing on the outskirts of the campfire, right? But you're kind of getting burned a little bit, not too much, but you want a little bit more. I don't know what's going on, you guys, but I got to read you this story. A listener sent me their UFO experience. And I want to read it to you when we come back. Why would somebody lie just to send me an email? I don't know. They wouldn't. I don't think. I'm going to read it to you. You decide for yourself next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Wesley Hunt just endorsed Ken Paxton.
Oh, so the guy he was running against. Wasn't Wesley Hunt there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah, you would. Right? I don't even think that's it's not even a discussion. John Cornyn, bye-bye.
Yeah. John Thune's upset. Susan Collins is upset.
She's
Lisa
next.
Murkowski's
She's
upset.
safe until 2028, but Lisa Collins. And then you've got this Graham Plattner guy, the Nazi guy, who's just a wackadoodle central. And that's who
I don't even care about his tattoos.
That's who the Democrats are behind? Yeah, what does he talk about, Brock? What's he stand for?
He's talked about getting guns and basically going out in the streets, and he's just not, he's deleted all his Reddit posts because he said crazy crap over the years. I think that people, the Neil deGrasse Tyson, who I paid to see speak, full transparency. I've gone and seen him speak, and I think he's dancing because he also turned people like me who went and saw him, who spent good money to listen to him speak, when he started with the, well, there's more than what two gender BS woke crap. And he started defending the woke crap. But I think he's dancing because he believes what he believes. He already, I mean, this guy worked with Carl Sagan. He's a brilliant man. But I think he dances so he can say he was right there. When it finally happens, either way it goes, he can say, I didn't want to say too much, or that's why I was skeptical of all this alien talk. He's waiting for the wind to blow. He's waiting for the facts to come in, which I can
Now,
respect.
here's the person I would not believe if they came forward and said something. Alex Jones. He was on with Joe Rogan yesterday, and I'm like, I can't deal with you. I don't like you anymore. You lost your credibility with me, so I don't even listen to what he says. But when you hear different people like this Stephen Greer, Dr. Greer, who was an emergency room physician who many, many years ago started the Disclosure Project, and it's like 30 years ago, 25 years ago, right? I could see like a lizard coming out of his face. I could see him being an alien. I could. And I'd be like, dang.
Isn't it funny that, people demonize, and I'll bring it full circle, everything that they don't understand.
Correct.
AI, aliens. Like we immediately say, a lot of you guys in your comments yesterday from what I said about believing in God and saying that, why not believe there's aliens, the automatically they're demons. Automatically AI is bad. Like we always go to worst case scenarios for everything. And I don't get it. Hey, I'm here.
I will say this.
If it wants to kill me, it's gonna kill me.
I will say this. I know nothing.
No, I don't know.
All I can do is
that's why it's interesting to do this.
Put stuff out there and for you guys to chew on it. And then every now and again, people like Cass will send me a message. And I think sometimes they're interesting. And I don't know, but there are a lot of people who have had experiences. And it's like everybody's been ashamed to say anything. Like, you don't want to say anything. Like, what? It's sort of like the vaccine. Nobody wants to admit that the vaccine is poison and it's killed people.
Yeah.
And that they're infected with crap. Idea what the heck is going on with the alien files. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. But I do find it odd that there's such a cone of silence. It's like nobody wants to come out and be called crazy. Nobody wants to be that person who speaks out. Shh. And yet, how many people that you know of, how many of you have had some weird, inexplicable experience that was very clear to you, that to this day you remember every detail, Like this woman, her name is Cass, and she emailed me yesterday. She says, Wendy, I got to tell you, I've had 2 firsthand experiences with UFOs, and I hope maybe will interest you. The first happened in the mid-'60s when my brother and I were playing in the pecan orchards around our house. It was a sunny summer day in South Mississippi, and we were several acres from the house, just running through the tall grass, being carefree. And then suddenly in a clearing, we didn't hear any sound or feel a rush of wind or see a massive shadow. But we had this feeling that something was above us. And yes, we looked up and saw a large silver white craft. We froze, terrified, too far from home. As we debated what our options were, the craft just hung above us. For exactly how long, I don't know. When we decided to make a run for it, we looked up one last time, and the craft shot off and was gone in the blink of an eye. No sound, no wind, no shadow, nothing. If you've ever seen Flight of the Navigator movie, and remember the way that craft changed shape, that's what we witnessed. It was literally decades before we ever spoke of it. You know, it's different than the World War II veterans who came back and didn't share stories with their families because they just didn't. This is like this fear of being labeled a weirdo. You're some whack job, loony bin nutcase. No. Then there's this one. Fast forward to the mid-'90s, Cass writes me, and I'm living in Taos, New Mexico. My teenage son and I were driving from Cimarron through Eagle Nest and Angel Fire back to Taos. We had to go through some canyons and some overpasses. Coming over the pass into Eagle's Nest about 9 p.m., we looked over the small town of Eagle Nest, and there was an unidentified blinking red light hovering and moving just above buildings. This was the only way for us to get home, driving down that pass. My teenage son was chanting, I don't believe in UFOs, and kind of sinking down in his seat. The town on one side and a lake on the other. As we approached the town, we noticed the blinking probe blinked and then was jumping on top of the lake, maybe 5 to 10 feet above the water. And suddenly, literally in a blink, it jumped to the other side. Just on the outskirts of town, there was a man walking on the side of the road towards the town. My son did not see him. I was driving very cautiously, and I noticed him. And when the car lights hit his eyes, he never blinked. He had this euphoric look on his face, and his skin had a strange coloring. To say that we were frightened would be an understatement. I was worried that this probe following us was going to follow us through the last pass and through the canyon. Gratefully, we were not aware of that coming to happen. We made it home safely, and as long as we lived in Taos, I would not go back through that Eagle Nest at night. But whether or not you believe that, this is somebody's explanation of something they've experienced. You have farmers. How many farmers? How many people in open fields who have had experiences? And then if they would dare to report it, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Probably like the Men in Black, look at this. Bzzzt, now you have no memory of what. Would you be surprised at all if that kind of a technology existed? Well, whatever it is, cone of silence. People didn't want to be called nutty. You got people we know of in the military who saw stuff, whether they were in the Air Force, whether they're in the Navy. And if you reported it, you would be basically called a nutcase and you would be dishonorably discharged. And so people were like, I saw nothing. I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, that doesn't help, right? So I have absolutely no idea what's going on. But I find it very interesting that now Fox News is reporting on it, right? Now CNN is reporting on it. Now it's mainstream. This is the process to drop something on the American people, right? Interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have answers, but we do like chatting about it. Thank you for being a part of the Wendy Bell radio program. Come on back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Have a great day. Love you guys. Peace.